here. We hear full show tonight. We got our intern Joey back there. I see Skaz as well. And you all at 617-779-0985. You call in, you tell us your name, you tell us where you're from, what you want to talk about, put you on hold, put you right through. I try not to leave you on hold all night, but we have guests. We're going to be joined by DJ Bean tonight. What chaos the show will have tonight. We'll also have John Sarianides, Dr. Football. We'll talk some football with him and some other things. Big Thanksgiving week next week, too. So maybe we'll do a little high school stuff. I know some people out there are into that stuff. So a full show on tap tonight. Your calls. We're on YouTube. What's up to the YouTube fam? I already see people in there. Pritches get stitches. That's right. If you want to carry that over, we certainly can as well. But leadoff take tonight, because there's a lot of stuff out there. We'll hit on the Bruins. We'll hit on Don Sweeney and his comments from today. There's some Red Sox stuff out there, some other NBA stuff. And, of course, the Celtics big winners last night. And that's where I wanted to lead off. Jason Tatum's making an MVP case. The case is being made, and a statement was made last night. Listen, for years in this town, we talk about Patriots. The Patriots have 3 wins, and we talk about the Patriots. The Boston Celtics are your reigning, defending NBA champions who are looking to go back-to-back. So although I know other things are going on in this town, it should be talked about when the Celtics end the undefeated streak that was going on. The Cavs were doing something only 3 other teams have done. They stopped their winning streak of 15 games last night. But it was a statement win. In the end, they only won by 3 points. But you know what? They had a big lead. They let up on a lead because they were a little short on bigs. And when the 3-point lead happened, Jason Tatum also happened. And it wasn't just the beginning of the game. It wasn't before halftime. It wasn't just the third quarter where he hit a clutch shot, which some people still may not give him credit for. But in the fourth quarter, it was Jason Tatum who led the way for the Celtics in a win over the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. 33 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. He dominated everywhere on that ugly court last night. Statement game. And it was a big spot for Tatum to show out, right? Rose to the occasion. This was a game that people got up for. At least I've been preparing for this game. I wondered if the Cavs would be undefeated going into this one. But out of the gate, Jason Tatum, 8 points in the first quarter, right? That's what he's done this year. If you want to talk about something about Jason Tatum that isn't mentioned enough, he's on the court every single night. When you talk about MVP candidates, right? Jokic has missed 3 in a row. He might have to be managed up until the All-Star break, maybe even the rest of the year. SGA, he's certainly in the conversation. There are other guys too. But it doesn't get mentioned enough how many times Jason Tatum's out there. Also doesn't get mentioned enough how he starts games hot. He found his stroke early last night. 4 for 4 from downtown in the first half. And this note was out there. I don't know. It sounds like it was good, Skaz. I think it was confirmed it was good. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals in the first quarter. He set the tone early. He was grabbing rebounds, playing as a big. He was facilitating. He helped find every starter last night with a 3-point shot before halftime. He was dealing. He was facilitating. And he's had strong quarters and halves all year long, but he did it all night. Third quarter, fourth quarter. He got Jaylen Brown going. Derek White got going. And in the third quarter, yes, the Cavs went on a big run, right? 21-3. They're up 3 points. He hits a dagger to go up 5. Gives them a little bit of cushion going into the fourth quarter. Now, Jason Tatum, as far as an MVP case, it'll always be hurt because of who he plays with. Right? When Porzingis comes back or the way that Jaylen Brown plays or what Peyton Pritchard is doing and Derek White and Drew Holiday, what they do on a nightly basis, it probably will take away from what Tatum can do. But he's on the best team in the league. And you know what? Yeah, now they have a 6th Man of the Year candidate. But when it comes to MVP ladders, the most recent one has him second. And he's behind Nikola Jokic at the moment. And somehow he's ahead of Kevin Durant? Where the hell did Durant come from early on this year? It's going to be an interesting race. It will fluctuate, right? Jokic is probably the guy, but now he's missing time. Tatum's moving up the ranks. And I don't know what's going to happen with Jokic. I don't know what's going to happen with SGA. But when it comes to individual numbers, Tatum should be looked at. And at some point, don't you have to give the vote to MVP? I know in the end, I don't care about who wins the NBA Cup. I don't really care sometimes about who wins the MVP. But in Tatum's case and in that league, they do. And I just wanted to bring up some things that Tatum's been doing over the last few games. That loss to the Hawks, being 16-point favorites, they mailed it in. They thought they could show up and just shoot their way out of tough situations. Not the case that night. But since that loss, in those 3 games, he's averaging 31 points per game. He's shooting 57% from 3. He's gone to the line at least 7 times a game. He's averaging 11 rebounds and 9 assists. And he's shooting 39% from deep. He hasn't been this good since 2019-20, which I think they went to a final that year too. Can't remember that. I think that was the year they went to the final. But he's got a career high in assists with 6. He's shooting 57% from the field. Right? He's averaging 4 threes a game. It's a career high. Free throws, 8.5, career high. Points, rebounds, assists. He's crushing it. He's 4th, only behind Jokic, Giannis, and Anthony Davis. Last year, he was 40th. He was 9th in the league at 40 points, rebounds, and assists per game. I think last night, in a meaningless game in November, it wasn't so meaningless for Jason Tatum's case to be the MVP. And I think he's making it right now. And I wanted to bring this up. I saw this from Basketball Reference. They've named him now the MVP. They think what he's doing on the court, and with Jokic missing some time, he's slowly, over the last 3 games, I just gave you the numbers, the 3 games that he's hit, he's crushing. In those 3 games, Jokic hasn't played. Basketball Reference right now has Jason Tatum, NBA MVP. I think he's deserving of it. He plays every night. Last night, he had to play against 2 bigs in Jarrett Allen and Mobley. They have struggled with points in the paint this year. It's been noticeable, and it happened again in the 3rd quarter last night. I think you're starting to see Tatum now do a little bit more, playing as a big, playing down low. And all these numbers are great. Assists, rebounds, points, etc. When Porzingis comes back, I think he's only going to be better. But I think it should be mentioned what he is doing without one of their best players this year. And last night, made an MVP statement against one of the best teams in the league. Oh, and Garland last night, one of the best shooters on the Cavs. After the game, the coach said that he's been dealing with something, and he is going to miss a game tonight. But it's just funny that a lot of these star players get ouchies against the Celtics. Ouchie, my back. Ouch. Happened last year in the playoffs. People tapped out. Last year, Mitchell tapped out. Halliburton tapped out. And I'll tell you again, I think Garland tapped out last night for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, they're 15-0. They were without a couple of guys. But they're not better than the Boston Celtics. And that was a statement made last night. So did they hang in there? Did they only lose by 3? Yeah. It's going to be a different game come playoff time when the Celtics are fully loaded. 617-779-0985, Tatum's MVP case. And I wanted to just bring up a player that is an absolute Cavs killer. We'll get into that coming up here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. We'll get Skaz's thoughts as well. It's a full show tonight. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
On Jared Allen, he was open, but he didn't know it, so he kicks out to Horford, and Horford cleans it up by hitting the three.
Yeah, he was really open. I mean, nobody around him.
Tatum's done a lot of great things tonight, but Al may be the man of the match right now, 96-90.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I got a full show tonight. Get to stretch out the legs a little bit. Had a lot of games. See, we had the Celtics last night, Bruins the night before, Patriots on Sunday. And then, yeah, we've just had games upon games upon games, so it's good to let loose a little bit and certainly hear from you guys at 617-779-0985. You just heard the clip there. There is a Cleveland Cavalier killer, and his name is Al Horford. He has been crushing the Cavs. I got some numbers for you on him coming up in a minute here, but Skaz, I wanted to bring you in on this MVP case. Some people might listen to the show or be driving home from Pucks and Paddles, which I heard was a great event today. And I saw some of it on television, and I've been to it many times, but didn't get the invite. Must have got lost today. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, they thought we were probably working. I get it. But MVP case for Tatum. People think we might be green teamers, and you do the Green Teamer podcast. No, the fact he's on the court every night, they're the best team. His assist numbers, his rebounding numbers, he's averaging 30 points a game. He worked on his three-point shot, and he's better. Jason Tatum is better this year than he was last year. So doesn't that even make him even more of an MVP candidate? I don't think I'm just saying this because we're on the flagship of the Boston Celtics. I think he's having an MVP season right now.
I would say he's having his best season so far in his career, and yeah, it's the closest thing he's had to an MVP season. I'm as big of a Jason Tatum guy as there is, but I don't think Tatum's had an MVP season yet in his career, and a lot of that has to do with what Jokic has done, what Embiid did in that season, even Giannis, the year Giannis won it. So to be the MVP is a different standard, and yeah, this season Jason Tatum is playing up to that standard. I think he's having his best year. His scoring, like you said, is up, rebounding, assists, his efficiency ratings are up. So yeah, Tatum is off to an incredible start. Obviously a great thing, especially if you're a Celtics fan, but I still am in the camp that the only way Jason Tatum can win MVP is if Nikola Jokic continues to miss games, and that is happening. And there's also, it happened to Shaq. I think it even happened to Jokic a little bit, where MVP fatigue. You get voter fatigue. These guys just keep winning. There are years LeBron could have won it. I'm sure Brady had years. Peyton probably had years where it's just the voters say, we've already given it to this guy. So maybe Tatum has a little bit of that in his favor.
I had Mahomes fatigue this year. He threw an interception in every game, yet he's the MVP.
Yeah, what? Patrick Mahomes is not your MVP.
No, he is not.
It should be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
And I think Josh Allen had a big run the other night that kind of sealed the deal. That was a statement for him, right, against the Chiefs.
And so, yeah, if Tatum keeps putting together these, big performances in, quote-unquote big regular season games, then, yeah, he absolutely deserves to be in the conversation.
But, by the way, it's okay if somebody else isn't playing or is injured and someone else rises to the top. So, if Jason Tatum only gets the MVP because Jokic missed time, fine. I don't care.
Joe, it certainly didn't bother me last year when they won the title because a couple guys were out.
Yeah.
They were winning that title if those guys were healthy.
Butler was hurt, and Mitchell didn't play in the last game, and then Halliburton did. But again, I look at it as they wore all those guys down. I almost said something different. I almost said Pritches down. They wore all those Pritches down. Do you have a comment on that, by the way? We get Grandy and Max, so I'll just stick to that.
Yes, big Grandy and Max guy. No, it is what it is, Joe. I was not surprised in the least when I heard it this morning. I was not shocked at all. It's that's what they want, I guess.
All right, I gotta ask Brendan Glasheen what he's doing up in Maine. What do you got for Shireman? You got something for him? Yeah, I wonder what they got a rap song for Shireman. Curious about that one, Glasheen. What do you got, Glash? I'm waiting on you. By the way, Al Horford, Cavs killer. Would you say so, Skaz, as well?
Yeah, I think Kenny Atkinson even said it himself after the game. He's like, I used to coach this guy, and I can't believe he's still beating me.
Last year in the playoffs, remember the closeout game? Al Horford, 22 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And he was at it again last night, snapping their winning streak with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, and he was a game high plus. His plus-minus was 18. He was great on switches last night, but he was even better on Darius Garland, right? Garland gets the matchup he wants, and it's Al Horford. Oh, but his back. Oh. No, you're getting switched on by Al Horford, one of the best pick-and-roll defenders in the game. You got switched on all night, and you couldn't even get to the basket. And you know what happened? Garland goes with his right hand, right? And then Horford comes behind and swaps up. And then what did that lead to? Derek White 3. Extend the lead from 5 to 8 with 4 minutes to go. The next possession. Georgie Niang, local boy, right? From Lawrence, went to Tilton. Probably ate at the Tilton Diner, which I love. I get the chicken and waffles when I go to Tilton Diner. But what did he do? Georgie Niang goes up for a layup, swat. Al Horford at 38 years old became the oldest player in the NBA last night with 20 points, 4 3-pointers, 3 blocks in a game. This comes off a game where he had 18, 5 3-pointers, and then in the win over the Toronto the other night against Podol. Horford's been getting his shot off quicker. His efficiency's been great. There are times where he doesn't have big shooting nights. But these are the games you want Al Horford when there's 2 bigs out there. We were talking about this off the air, guys. Is there another team in the league that poses guard play in bigs like the Cavs? And listen, I know that they were out LeVert last night, and Wade can also do some things. But when you have Mobley, who's one of the tops in the league at points in the paint, and then Allen, who's a pretty good big. Say it what you want. He's a big in the league. Last night, the Celtics had to go to Horford at 38 years old, and when they gave up points in the third quarter, it was because Keita couldn't switch. And listen, they had Keita out there because they want him to develop. So, yeah, did he struggle all night? Yes. Was Cornette there? No. Are they going away from Tillman? Absolutely. But they needed Horford on the bench to play more in the fourth. And it worked. Yes, they blew a big lead. They don't have another option as a big right now. They want Keita to develop. But playing Keita all that time and making it a 3-point game, this is why I bring up the Tatum 3 was so huge. It gave him that cushion. And, it counts, right? I just want to make sure the Tatum 3 counted because it was at the buzzer of the third quarter, Skaz. I know we did this last night.
I'm not giving him. That's not. I mean, yeah, sure.
No. People say that he doesn't hit clutch shots. Was that not a clutch shot?
By definition, I would say no, but if you want to give it to him, Joe, I'll let you give it to him.
So it doesn't count when it's at the end of a third quarter. It has to be at the end of a game.
If you hit a field goal,
quarter.
If you hit a field goal at the end of the third quarter in football, is that a clutch field goal? I would say no. That's what you're just hitting another basket, hitting another point. Clutch is final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
So he gets no credit for hitting the shot before the third.
Just trying to be fair here, Joe.
Okay. See, I'm just trying to figure it out because, it's hard for me to decipher when is it clutch and when is it not when Jason Tatum hits a big shot. So, yeah, the field goal analogy, I get you. Just like the Rams, they missed the field goal before the half when the Patriots screwed up the whole drive. But when Tatum does it at the third to get up 5 to go up into the fourth when they win by 3, okay. Just wanted to you want to be fair, that's fine. Al Horford was awesome last night. Kenny Atkinson was with him years ago, right? He was under Coach Bud and he said that back in the day it took him too much time. Now he's getting it off so fast. But this guy's 38 years old. He's already attempted 65 threes this year through 13 games. In his first 2 seasons in Atlanta, He attempted 47 threes in 105 games. Like, think about how much Al Horford has improved a three and has gotten more contracts for it and has lasted longer in the league than anyone. But, yeah, points in the paint were a problem again last night. The Mobley-Allen thing, the Cada struggles. It just shows the importance of Al Horford. And what's up with Tatum and White going to the press conferences together?
So something they started in the playoffs. I think they did it a little bit in the regular season last year, but more in the playoffs last year. And then just keep the good vibes going, Joe. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I think Tatum said Horford's his best friend on the team, but Derek White's probably second behind him. I know Derek White wasn't too thrilled about that, but yeah, I mean. I know some people have problems with, kids and stuff at post-game press conferences. I have no issues with Tatum and Derek White doing their post-game press conference together.
Yeah, I was going to reference that last night. Jason Tatum said his favorite player was Al Horford.
Yeah, he said that for years. Said that.
I know White was just, being funny. But Derek White's got his own beer now, huh?
Yes, the White Ale, I believe.
From Boston.
Derek White has fully embraced the city of Boston. I think city's embraced him right back for good reason. Another Brad Stevens win. Romeo Langford for Derek White and a pick or whatever it was with Langford. Yeah, I think they do that one again.
Must have been really hard for Brad trading the kid from Indiana,
Hey, Romeo Langford for a time was supposed to be like the guy for Indiana.
Blue chip from Indiana.
Didn't happen.
Is he still in the league? Romeo Langford? Like, I don't know who I was talking to about this last night.
He is in the French league, Joe. He's
he's in the French league,
yes.
Huh? That's a competitive league from what I got.
Playing for a team I cannot pronounce.
Okay, but a lot of Frenchmen are becoming now NBA stars.
He's averaging 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist.
In the French league?
He's 46% from the field, though.
Oh, was that a Popovich trade?
I do believe that was Greg Popovich.
Oh, he's so great, huh? Yeah, now that he doesn't have Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, is he? I want to be in light of him. I know he's dealing with some health issues, so I don't want to. I would have said this if that didn't happen. So I'm gonna be nice to Pop, but it was Pop who made that decision, though.
Yes,
he traded Derek White for Romeo Langford.
He did,
and then fell into Victor Wembanyama.
Also correct.
And they signed Chris Paul this year.
Maybe the biggest loser in the NBA, yes, Chris Paul.
Yeah, sometimes the greatest of all time make bad moves too, huh?
Little Belichick-Popovich similarities.
I try to be relatable as possible, Skaz. That's kind of the gig. I try to relate to the listener how that, you get Derek White, the Peyton Pritchard contract. I've probably brought that one up how many times. Peyton Pritchard would have gotten $15 to $20 million on the open market. And I know some people are like, no way, no. I really do think he might have got $15 to $20 million. And he's going to make $6 million over the next 3 years. Win. Pat's in Franklin. Hey, Pat.
Joe, how are you, bud?
How are you?
Hey, so this Celtics thing, you've seen these dominant teams, Warriors, even I'll go to college, Villanova for that run. I feel like they're just going to pick their spots when they want to just dominate. I feel like this is pretty impressive, But I have a question for you about Raising Cane's.
Okay. What do you got for me?
Joe.
Yeah. What do you got?
Joe. Can the Northeast, as in, the New England area, only accept chicken fingers for a chicken restaurant and it be dominant? I don't know, man.
Well,
do you think?
It seems to be a pretty dominant thing going right now, right? Everyone loves the hot chicken style. They're all tenders, right?
But Joe. My wife's from Atlanta.
Okay.
She likes her chicken flavor, but chicken fingers? Really? You think so?
I don't know, but what do you want? I mean, what do you want it to be?
I
Chicken
want a
breast?
chicken sandwich. I want chicken with fries. I want. I'm not going to walk to a restaurant and buy chicken fingers.
You live in Franklin, huh?
Yes.
There's a place called Flip the Bird on the North Shore. You got to try them out.
Well, I'm going to hit it, but I'm just not going to a restaurant for chicken fingers.
All right, I agree with you. I get it. You don't go to a restaurant for chicken fingers. I get it. But it's Raising Cane's. I go to Raising Cane's to get chicken fingers. I go to Dave's Hot Chicken to get chicken fingers. If I'm going to Capitol Grill, I go for a steak. If I go to an Italian restaurant, I want the bolognese. Anything else? What am I missing? If I go to a seafood restaurant, I want clam chowder. I want fried clams. I want seafood. So, yes, the best thing about knowing a place with chicken fingers is a place that has chicken fingers. Dalton's in Dedham. Hi, Dalton.
Joe, I'm sorry to do. You sound really flustered right there. I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, we'll get into chicken right now. But Joe, I heard the big new rave is Birdies right over there at University Ave. I don't know, have you had it yet?
I haven't had it, but I've driven by it.
Joe, I heard it's so you know how Dave's Hot Chicken, they give you these huge tenders. I get it. You know, they give you all the spices, all this crap.
Yes.
But dude, I heard, Joe. I mean, hey, I
you
know.
Heard or you had? You heard or you had?
Oh, I've had.
So
Joe.
tell me.
Had. Okay. Oh, I'm going to tell you. So, Joe, I'm trying to I'm trying to lose some calories this, it's coming in the winter season. Mm-hmm. So, apparently you can get a Cobb salad with the
I don't want to talk about salad. Tell me about the chicken. All right, we're not going to do that all night long. Are we good? Tatum's in the MVP conversation, and Horford's the man and a Cav killer. And his numbers are outstanding right now against bigs. And just wait. Porzingis is coming back. Anything else? Let's get to the Bruins. Don Sweeney spoke today. We'll let you hear the audio coming up next on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Yes, we will get into the Bruins and Don Sweeney, who spoke today after they fired Jim Montgomery yesterday. Joe Sacco has been named the interim head coach. He did speak today as well. We'll give you the audio coming up on the Utah Hockey Club.
worse, I think.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Up. I'm Joe Murray. I was anticipating listening to Don Sweeney today, and quite honestly, I felt for him, or maybe I was understanding about it. He faced the music. I think that he sounded upset about what happened with Montgomery. Sounded like maybe he was just upset that it happened in the way that it happened. But he had seen enough, and I personally thought that, there maybe was something behind it. 20 games in, they realized change was hard, but also necessary. He brought up that there were extension talks with Jim Montgomery, and I don't know if maybe they were holding out, or it was Montgomery holding out for more money. But one of his quotes was, it came from a decision of our team really just not performing to the level of expectations that they've grown to appreciate as a fan and for the sporting community here. Sweeney went on to say that they had to change course. So I go back to the offseason. A lot of people on this Bruins team don't have a future contract. They're all lame ducks. Montgomery was number one. I mean, the Swayman stuff really held back their entire offseason. Brad Marchand had multiple surgeries in the final year of his deal and has yet to get an extension. Trent Frederick's another guy that doesn't have an extension. So as far as today, and I got a take on that, by the way. But changes are ahead here. Changes are absolutely ahead. And Sweeney said he's next. Like, if the team doesn't turn it around, it's on him. And they're going to go with Joe Sacco, and I don't know what's going to change here, right? I mean, I don't know what moves. They brought in big free agents over the summer, and it didn't work out. It just wasn't to, I guess, fit the team need. Yeah, they wanted to get heavier. Yeah, they wanted to get stronger. But they got worse. And I think Lindholm's been a bust. I said it. 20 games in, Elias Lindholm, bust. But now, moving forward, the rest with Sweeney, he said. Sweeney did build this roster. And yeah, they probably made it further than we thought a year ago. I thought the job Sweeney and Neely did last year, getting guys on one-year deals to fill spots, absolutely worked. And yes, they were against the cap all year. And they did go on to make trades. But they didn't extend anyone. So when I look at it, I don't know if this team can improve this year. It's on them. And I already said that there were plenty of guys on this team that have made business decisions. Swayman made his, by the way. Holding out at camp, then getting the money and the performance he has, business decision. Pastrnak, business decision, no doubt about it. I don't know how much of a business decision Brad Marchand can make when he's pointing to the sea and he's going at it with the coach. I don't know what kind of business decision that is, but he hasn't gotten his contract, and it doesn't look like he's going to get the money that maybe anyone thought. I think he stays as a Bruin, but if he doesn't want to, now's the time. But McAvoy, come on. The money he's made and the way that he's playing. The best player this year was Lindholm. I agreed with Skaz. Then he gets hurt. Here's my biggest problem with Don Sweeney. Yes, it's on you. Now that Montgomery's taken the hit, it is on you. It does fall on you. But the biggest issue Don Sweeney made was not making a decision. He never extended Montgomery. If you wanted Montgomery, you just pay him. There's no salary cap. There's nothing in the way of that. If you wanted Jim Montgomery, you would have paid him and he would have had an extension. They never wanted him. Yeah, and here's the other one, Skaz. Long run, I wanted to ask you this one, Skaz, because we got DJ Bean coming up later. If you have had to choose one extension, Swayman, Marchand, Montgomery, who would you have chosen? Yeah, think about that one.
Yeah,
huh?
that's can I say none of the above?
They went Swayman.
They went with Swayman, and I don't know, it seems like fans are kind of already upset about
Soured
that.
on that
Even
one,
the
right?
ones that were begging for them to re-sign him. I don't know how much good a goalie does you when he, is allowing the Columbus Blue Jackets to light him up, but I think Jeremy Swayman is a very good goalie. I think he will be better. It would be tough for him to be worse. I think this whole Bruins team almost has to be better by default. I guess, give Swayman the money, Marchand's, the whole thing, the handling of Marchand and Montgomery, I do think you're harping on an interesting point because these are two guys that both were lame ducks headed into this year. You have the captain of your hockey team, a lame duck, and you have the coach of your hockey team, a lame duck. That just doesn't seem like a recipe for success. You want everyone in the room to be invested. You're trying to build a quote-unquote Stanley Cup roster. You're bringing in Elias Lindholm. You're bringing in Zadorov. You're supposedly bolstering up for the playoffs, but the captain of your team and the head coach both don't know where they're going to be after this season. I think you're sending mixed messages, and that's on Don Sweeney. He's in charge of that. That's his job, is to make sure that the message in the front office is the same as the message in the locker room. And I think if your coach is a lame duck and your captain's a lame duck, how can everyone in the locker room be on the same page?
There you go. So they settled on Swayman, but they had to. Actually, did they have to? Did they have to? What if they looked like this, right? Without Swayman holding out, with Swayman holding out, would have everyone blamed Swayman, or would they have blamed ownership for not spending the money?
I think so Swayman's drop dead date was what, December 1st?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving, let's call it.
And if they were playing this bad without Swayman, all we would hear is they need to sign Swayman. They're playing this bad because the goaltending has been this bad. Well, the goaltending's bad with Swayman right now. So another, good point, Joe. I don't know.
That's my problem, is that he never made a decision. They settled on Swayman. Maybe Marchand is pissed he's in the final year of his deal. I don't know. Sidney Crosby got an extension and the Pittsburgh Penguins suck. Now, granted, he is Sidney Crosby, but do you get what I mean? Maybe Marchand feels like he's that level. He did nothing, is my point. Oh, we tried to give him an extension, but it didn't work out. If you wanted him, which I don't think they did, they wanted to see. They wanted to see. And by the way, this Joe Sacco thing, does it sound like Mayo last year? Yeah, they gave him a bump. You're the assistant. The head coach doesn't get it. You're next, man. Sorry. Sounds like there was a little backdoor thing going on there. Medford guy. Pouncing at the next opportunity, right? Can't blame the man. Just sounded a little Mayo-y. That's all. We'll take a quick break. Oh, by the way, there's news on a former Red Sox getting an award. And speaking of awards, NFL Hall of Famers. We'll tell you who's on the ballot. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe.
47 yards. With 7 seconds remaining, Ken Walter will hold. Lonnie Paxton will snap from the far hash mark, angle to the left for Adam Vinatieri. 48-yard field goal attempt. Set to go. Snap, ball down. Kick up. Kick is on the way, and it is good! It's good! It's good! Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the game is over, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The best team in the National Football League! Adam Vinatieri, 48 yards! Oh, baby!
Ah, yes, the old days. The beginning of the good old days. We're playing that for you because Adam Vinatieri is among 25 semifinalists for the 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame class. A couple other Patriots were on there. Rodney Harrison was one of them. Vince Wilfork is another. There are some others who played for the Patriots. Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, just to name a couple of others. It's interesting to me. I don't know if a kicker can be first ballot, but if one deserves it, it's definitely Adam Vinatieri. And I was telling Skaz this off the air, but wouldn't it be fitting if it was Adam Vinatieri and Eli Manning that went into the Super Bowl? I only say it because when you talk about Super Bowls, you can't tell the story of the Super Bowl without Adam Vinatieri and without Eli Manning. So I look at it as like some sort of package deal. It would just be fitting if they both got in because you'll see the highlights of Rodney Harrison. You'll see Vince Wilfork. Like you'll see the other guys that played in those games. I don't know. Package deal. You might not like it. Vinatieri, Eli Manning, both deserving. Probably should get in. I don't know if they'll be first ballot, but certainly could look good as a package deal. We'll do more of this later. Got a full show tonight, guys.
Is Vince Wilfork a Hall of Famer to you?
So as far as a defensive lineman, no. But will he be considered a nose guard? If that's the case, Fred Smirlis belongs in the Hall of Fame. Right? And now you got to start looking at other things. And so that's where I think it lines up as. Vince Wilfork was a great piece and filled holes for great linebackers over the years. I just don't know. I think I need a little bit. Was he a talent, though? At listed at 307. There is no way that man was 375 pounds.
You'd put Wes Welker in before him, right?
Better believe it. I almost said you bet your ass. Again, I'm the biggest Wes Welker guy going. People don't realize it. Take that drop out in the Super Bowl, man. And you want to talk about guys that were on the field every day, too? Oh, boy. Oh, I got a Wessie for Wes, let me tell you. All right, well, we'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. We're going to talk to DJ Bean coming up in a little bit. You guys know him from the What Chaos podcast. But Don Sweeney picked an interesting date to move on from Jim Montgomery and some more Montgomery and Sweeney stuff. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston.
Patriots!
From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the past.
Yes.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, well, this just in. Former Red Sox pitcher and current Braves pitcher Chris Sale has won the Cy Young Award in the National League. So let's just add that as insult to Red Sox fans. But Chris Sale, winner of the National League Cy Young Award. Patriots and Dolphins will meet this week. No Dietrich Wise, no Vadarian Lowe, no Christian Barmore at practice today. They did see the return, though, of Cole Strange. He's got his clock now started They have 21 days to add them to the active roster. Bruins in action tomorrow night against Utah. They're going to have a new coach. His name, Joe Sacco. He's from Medford. And the Celtics play in Washington on Friday night, but tomorrow they'll be at the White House celebrating their championship win. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Do you feel like your locker room is perhaps too comfortable? A lot of guys with long-term deals, a lot of guys with no movement clauses. Is that a concern with the way they're playing right now?
No, I referenced the fact that did players get a little relaxed or comfortable having good years last year and just thinking it was going to be a fait accompli that they go out and execute the same level? Maybe that trickled in. No, from the standpoint of no movements, players that had no movements, players that had no trades, they've moved around this league, and that'll continue to do so. We're going to identify the guys that love being here, love representing the Boston Bruins, and if they don't, then I will make some changes as a result of that, and performance will drive it. But no, I'm not concerned about that.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I'm reading people that are in our chat tonight. I don't understand what some people say. The Chris Sale thing got people in a tizzy, huh? Winning the Cy Young Award. What's up, Leap? What's up, Russ Fox? Jay Buck is in there. Brother Bluto. Smitty. All the regulars. Ein Pine is in there. Brian Griffin. We got all our regular crew in there with us tonight. David, Derek, you guys are all there. Just a couple other things on Don Sweeney. I mentioned the date. It was on the same date that the St. Louis Blues moved on from their coach after their rough start and then went on to win 30 games and win the Stanley Cup final. So I wonder if that was the cutoff date, like if they didn't have 10 wins by that date, he was out. So Jim Montgomery out, Joe Sacco in. It's easy to see that Jim Montgomery lost the room, right? And it's been a huge distraction all year long, and well, the lineups were a huge problem. I mean, every night we were talking about somebody else playing a different line. But he's the scapegoat, no doubt about it. And the roster mismanagement was real. David Pasternak had a quote today. We weren't getting it done, and because we weren't getting it done, we lost a great coach and a great human being. I mean, come on, Pasta. It sounds like he's going to be all right. Lost his job, but Sweeney also mentioned guys who want to be here will stay. Guys who don't, we'll move on from. I'm waiting for that one to drop. Who wants to move on? The next few weeks are going to be very interesting. The team has to play for pride at this point. Maybe there's a big move. Maybe something happens sooner than later. But the team needs to play better, no doubt about it. It's on them. Montgomery's gone. It's just another coach fired. Hey, by the way, did you see Cam Neely today at all? Was he? Where was Cam? Just wondering. Where was Cam Neely today? So Sweeney just out there left to hang dry after somebody else has fired how many coaches now? Let's see. Claude, Butch, Bruce, and Monty. Wow. All pretty good coaches, huh? Wouldn't you say? It's probably their last firing, I would say. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. We're going to ask about DJ Bean coming up from What Chaos about all this. Let's talk to Jimmy's in Newburyport. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, great show as always. Appreciate you, Joe.
Thank you.
So randomly 2 months ago, got gifted tickets for the Bruins, and it just so happens it's for tomorrow. And I haven't been in a while, but a huge fan. So, I don't know, just in your opinion, what should I expect, maybe just in the building for tomorrow?
Dude, you're going to get the Utah Hockey Club. That's going to be interesting. New team, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is cool. I was looking forward to that, thinking they'd have the same coach.
Know what else, too, is I'd probably bet on a team that just fired their coach. This is always a good thing to bet on. So maybe there's a little rooting interest for the Bruins to get it back together.
Well, so you already answered my next question, which I was thinking you'd probably tie into betting, because I was going to say, is there anything in particular I should be rooting for?
In football,
but,
there is.
I think you just
works in football all the time. Jimmy, appreciate you, bud. Yeah. That was funny, guys. The other night you mentioned something about Charlie Coyle had a quote about how they're not doing well in practice, and it just doesn't carry over to the games. And today we're hearing about training camp and how Monty was hard to them on camp. Sounds like the guys weren't ready to go this year. Kind of like thought they could just show up and play. Maybe because they all are paid highly, compensated very high and well. Let's talk to Jeremy in Worcester. Jeremy.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, I'm excited about the hire. Montgomery hasn't done anything in the playoffs, and this guy got some good playoff pedigree. So I think moving forward, if he can get his team there, we can push for the cup if everything falls right.
What do you think will change just besides the head coaching change?
I don't know. I'm hoping he can push the right buttons. He helped Bork get the cup back in 99, 2000, back in the day. So he kind of knows his way around the hockey rink. I don't really know what Montgomery's background was. I think getting around there, but I think he's been around Waugh and Forsberg. So
I think we're talking about yeah.
Do you think it's Joe Sakic? You hung up on him, Joe? That guy thinks Joe Sacco is Joe Sakic. They're two different people, two completely different people. Joe Sacco has coached very little in the playoffs. I believe one round and lost in 6 games.
That was a troll job, right?
It had to be, right? Had to be. The hire. I love the hire of Joe Sakic, guy that won a cup in Colorado. No, those are two completely different people.
No, but he was in Colorado. He was the coach of Colorado, Joe Sacco.
Joe Sakic.
Yeah. Joe Sakic played for Colorado. Joe Sacco. Sacco Flacco! Oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, Joe Sacco coached the Colorado Avalanche
in 09, right?
In 2009.
Yeah, I was going to say. What do you think? He was 99 or 96? What year was that Bork thing? Now I can't remember anymore. 96?
I'll tell you when it wasn't, Joe. It wasn't 2009.
It wasn't 09. Joe Sacco, 130 and 134 in his career. Went to the postseason once, lost in the conference finals. Too bad. Jimmy's in New Hampshire. Jimmy.
Hey, Joe.
Hey,
brother. Do you ever notice how Don Sweeney sounds like he was having a heart attack when he was doing his interview? I mean, it sounds like he's a bit nervous. What do you think? I'll let you go. And, Joe, thank you very much. Great show.
Thank you. I don't know what sounding a heart attack sounds like. I don't want to know. He sounds like he's next. Yes. He's left out there to hang dry now, too. Where, again, I thought Sweeney and Neely were a package deal. What's going on here? This is like when Belichick said, well, I don't handle the football as Tom does. And somehow Belichick just right out of that one, right? Belichick, nothing to do with football. He knew nothing about footballs. Sweeney, yeah, Neely, nothing to do with this. Cam Neely, nothing. Justin and Lynn. Justin.
Hey, Joe, I have a problem with the way that Don Sweeney addressed the comments today at practice with the Bruins. He said the Bruins have been disconnected all year long, and I have a problem with that, Joe.
I have a big problem with it too, Justin.
Yes, I do. And by the way, that was 2001 that they won the Cup.
Think you. 2001, it was Ray Bork year.
Yep.
Why did I think it was 96? Yeah, I don't know. I think 96 was when the new Garden happened, right? It was 01? So Bork won the Cup in 01? Oh, yeah, because they had a rolling rally. That's right. It was 01 because the Patriots had their rolling rally the same year. So Bork won that year. The Patriots won that year. Huh. My brain. Mark in Norwood. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing? I'm going to break things up a little bit. I mean, the Bruins are another story, but
I didn't think I could get any more aggravated with the Red Sox until you find out that today that Chris Sale wins the Cy Young Award. I mean, can it get any worse? They sent a bunch of emissaries to make believe like they're going to try to sign Soto. You know they're not. They had a better player for less money, Mookie Betts. They're not going to sign Soto. And now you find out they moved on from one of the best pitchers in baseball. I know you had some rough times here, but they still had him on the contract. I mean, play it out. The guy was a stud pitcher, and now you see they have 100% record for failure. It's been so bad lately. I don't know how much more of it I can take.
Are there any more now? Like Mookie's won 3. And Sale won the Cy Young. Is there anyone else? Schwarber's still killing them.
Oh, Kike just got a one.
Oh, Kike, there you go. You got him.
But was anyone killing them for the Chris Sale trade at the time?
Listen, I think everybody was like, go ahead, Sale, go. Yeah. Go.
See you later.
Go fly.
He was not going to win the Cy Young in Boston.
Spread your wings, sir.
Wasn't going to happen.
No, but it's a kick in the ass, though. No, he's. I will say this. I won't dismiss Red Sox feelings on this one. I agree it never would have happened here. But if you want another reminder of how bad it sucks, there's one. This one was like, dude, this one was destiny. Chris Sale going to the Braves to get a scrub infielder in return is the worst trade of all time. One of them. But it had to happen. It was so bad that it was meant to be. Yeah, just another slap in the old Red Sox face. We're going to talk to DJ Bean, hockey guy. The guy has his awesome podcast that's going on right now. What Chaos. I watched a little of it today. They have fun. Did you know that? Well, we're going to have some fun with him. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight, everybody. We started off with Jason Tatum's MVP statement last night. The campaign is real. Heard from Don Sweeney. His comments today sounded a little, sounded like he was next. That's what I would say. But let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. Welcome in DJ Bean from What Chaos. What's going on, DJ? How you doing, bro?
I am outstanding. How are you, my friend?
I am great. It's good to hear from you again. I know it's been a while. I'm proud of what you're doing, man. Talented guy. They let you spread your wings a little bit, and you guys are killing it, man.
Thank you.
So I have to tell you this. I watch, and I know you just had an interview with the new Utah. Was it the GM or I'm trying to remember who it was, but I was
the GM, Bill Armstrong.
There you go. I was listening to that today. Do teams worry about when a coach just got fired and facing that team? Like, feel like there's probably a betting advantage to that. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I mean, how do teams feel about that once a team fired someone and then facing them next?
I mean, that's a good question. Like, I always think I kind of mock the idea of a spark. Because usually it's a team that's playing horribly, so horribly that they fired their coach, so you just think of them as a bad team. And then you always look, it feels like, and you're like, oh, damn, they ended up winning their next game. Oh, they ended up winning like 2 of 3 or 3 of 4 or something like that. And sometimes it's like what happened in Edmonton last year, which is they fire the coach, a new guy comes in, it looks a little better, but still you're like, this is not the cup contender we expected. And then eventually it sort of hits their stride. So if I'm Utah right now, a team that is certainly having its own struggles, they were playing well, but have hit a bit of a bump here. Their goalie got hurt, and they already have a bunch of injuries on the blue line. I would not be too excited to face the Bruins, just knowing, like, kind of what you alluded to. When teams fire their coaches, it always seems like the next game they come out and they win like 5-2.
What do you know? I mean, clearly team was playing bad. Montgomery's message wasn't working. He tried everything, right? I mean, he moved guys down different lines. He had every single fourth liner at one point on a different line. He did everything he could. At times, it looked like the team liked playing for Korpisalo instead of Swayman. So I'm asking you, what are we missing here? What don't we know? What else have you heard?
Well, I mean, I think in the case of Montgomery, it has to be hard if you're a player to nod, like, yeah, this is your coach. Yeah, this is your job. You have to go out and you have to execute for this guy. But it's kind of hard to get or to completely ignore and completely remove the fact that this guy, they didn't sign this guy. He's in the last year of his deal. He is a lame duck. So even if it's like, yeah, have confidence in him, knowing that the team doesn't have confidence in him and the organization doesn't have confidence in him, it's probably hard to show up every day. I don't think that that's an excuse for players, but I think it's potentially an explanation. I think that this is a team that has overachieved for years, so much so that I'm not counting them out for this year, because I still think like they always find a way. They always end up being like top 3 in the Atlantic, and maybe they end up being a wild card team this year. Who knows? But they always find themselves in it. Maybe this is finally the year where it comes crashing down to earth. But you look at last year's 109-point team versus this year. Sure, a Vezina goaltender is gone in Linus Ullmark. Sure, a guy who can push for 30 goals is gone in Jake DeBrusk. And yeah, Danton Heinen is probably better than he gets credit for around here. But you added a top 6 center. You added, let's say, a good third pairing defenseman, and maybe, who knows, maybe the Nikita Zadorov in, Matt Grzelcyk out thing is more of a is closer to a wash than we thought. But I don't know about you. I looked at this team, man, and I thought, worst regular season team will be a better postseason team because they're deeper down the middle. They're a little stronger on defense. When I say strong, I mean literally physically tall, big, strong. Nikita Zadorov. I did not see it being this much worse, though. I thought worse in the regular season, sure, but that to me meant maybe you end up being the third spot in the Atlantic instead of the second. But this has been kind of unfathomable.
So I think there's been a lot of business decisions going on. The fact that Pasternak didn't even have a shot on net the other night. I mean, clearly McAvoy gets benched off the power play. He's only back now because Lindholm's out. I mean, everyone's got contracts now, right? I think Elias Lindholm's been a bust. I know it's 20 games. I don't think we can put that on him yet, but he is. And Zadorov's exactly what we thought, right? He's a penalty machine. What happened to going with the young players, DJ? Like Merkulov plays the other night. He forced a couple of penalties. They're worse at everything. Power play, penalty kill, goals again. You name it. They've gone from like the top in the league to worst in everything. I'm just curious, what happened to the young players and trying to work these guys into the mix?
Well, on the thing of the drop-off, it's stunning because in the four major categories that I look at as like the kind of traditional marks, which is goals for per game, goals against per game, power play, penalty kill, there is only one of those categories in which they did not drop off by more than half the league. Actually, all of them they dropped off by more than half the league. I'm sorry. They dropped 18 spots in terms of rank for goals for, power play, and penalty kill. And in terms of goals against, they dropped 23 spots from 5th in the league to 28th in the league. They're dead last, I believe, on power play. Like it's not that it's worse. It's not that it's bad. It's that everything is horrible. As for the young guys, I think it's the age-old follow-up question with the Boston Bruins, which is what young guys? I mean, I don't want to name names, but you can remember, I'm sure, guys over the years who he said, why don't they give this guy more rope? Why don't they give this guy a little more run? Why don't they just have a little faith in this player? And eventually when the player moves on, we find out that's not an NHL player. This is not a team that drafts well. This is not a team that develops well. And yes, they've had big hits in the first round in David Pastrnak and Charlie McAvoy, but brother, that is going back a long time, going on almost a decade. So I would say the first response to what about the young guys is usually the young guys aren't very good. And like I like Lowry. I think that we get a little excited about him sometimes, but that's fine. It's a young player. I don't think that he's ready to be a top player for this team. I don't think that really any of their young options right now are ready to provide the improvement that this team needs.
Yeah, and I'm reaching, bro. Like, yeah. How much more do I need? Tufty, Kupke, who's been fine, right? Kastelik's been fine too, but like
Kastelik's been a godsend, yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, that's what they're doing. Like Tyler Johnson, I thought he'd maybe do something. I don't know what happened to him the other night. When the other night I saw Merkulov out there and I went, they need more of this. Because they look like they're the only ones that care, DJ. I get it. Lysell, everyone wants to see Lysell. You look at his numbers in Providence, he sucks. Right? So it's like, at some point, though, this team is going to have to make a decision, right? Sweeney said it today. They're either guys who want to stay here or they're going to go. So I'll ask you, who are those guys that are on that list?
That would go, I mean, I don't know if you remember the Bruce Cassidy firing press conference was not my most comfortable moment because I asked Sweeney, why didn't you get fired?
Ooh.
And I didn't do it to be rude. I believe I was pretty sheepish about it because I am but a sheepish little boy. But like I was thinking it back then, and I think I don't think I was alone. I think a lot of people back when they fired Bruce Cassidy were like, huh? You're firing that guy? If someone's getting fired, shouldn't it be Sweeney or shouldn't it be Neely? I think that I thought Cassidy was. I thought that was their last card that they could play. They end up getting to fire one more coach, and it's a good coach, and I don't think that Sweeney or Neely think that this was a Jim Montgomery thing and this is his fault. But at some point, like was the case in Edmonton last year, even if you know this isn't the coach's fault, how many more games can you lose before you just try something? And in the case of the Bruins, they clearly didn't love Montgomery that they didn't extend him anyway. So that's the card you play. But yeah, the next guy that gets fired, I would think, is Don Sweeney. And we talked about this on the show. Pete said it, and I agreed with him. That seems like more of an off-season thing because you go back to I believe it was a decade ago when they fired Peter Chiarelli, and Charlie Jacobs called the press conference during the season when the team was struggling and said basically everyone's going to be under review. And when they missed the playoffs, they fired Chiarelli. And you go back to Mike O'Connell, a previous GM. They missed the playoffs, he was fired. That seems to be the modus operandi in Boston. You miss the playoffs, and you're the GM, you go. Coaches, different situation. The GM can hire you and fire you as they please, and that's what Don Sweeney's been able to do. I don't think that Don Sweeney is the worst GM in the world. I think that he often makes the right move for the situation he puts himself in. For example, I did not say, everyone's like crapping on Don Sweeney. I don't know about you. This offseason, I was not mad at him. I thought that he spent money. The return that he got for Olmark kind of stunk, but it was just so telegraphed they had to trade him that there was kind of no choice. But again, that's the Don Sweeney makes the move that he has to make based on how he set up the team. And in the case of the Bruins, he hasn't drafted well. He doesn't have a bunch of good young players getting ready to take over for David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron. So when he goes out and he signs Elias Lindholm, I'm like, yeah, you have to sign that guy. Good job. You got that. Like, am I going to love the contract? Maybe not, but you needed a top six center. You got a top six center. To that move, I would say, good job, Don Sweeney. So I still think it's ultimately a performance thing versus this was just so horribly constructed. If the GM were better, yes, you wouldn't have to go out and rely on free agents who may or may not hit. You could supplement your roster, your star players, your Pasternaks, your Swaymans with young, cheap guys. But again, Don Sweeney will always make the move that he has to make based on how he has adequately or inadequately built the rest of the thing. I don't think he's a terrible GM. I think that he reacts accordingly to the situation that he puts the team in.
All right, talking with DJ Bean from the What Chaos Show. Go check him out, him and Pete. They do a great job over there. I wanted to just ask you, where was Cam Neely today? Like, I felt like maybe the Montgomery thing lasted because he was the shield, right? For Sweeney or Neely. Well, here in comes Sweeney today taking all the heat. Where is Cam Neely?
Oh, I think that is doing the very presidential thing of saying, I don't need to be there. I will tend to other things. I don't know if he was doing a pucks and paddles thing or whatever, but yeah, I think that honestly, and this was the case of a GM firing, so it makes more sense. Like, the one that Neely had to really answer for was Chiarelli. I don't think that Neely had to answer for Cassidy as much as Sweeney did, and I don't think that Neely has to answer for Armstrong as much as Sweeney did, because Sweeney I still think of as more kind of big picture thing, like, hey, if there's something you want to hold against him, maybe it's that Zadorov doesn't look great so far. That doesn't look like a good contract. But even in that moment, I thought that was an overpay. I thought that he was going to get overpaid, but do you want the player or not? You do? Cool, go overpay him. What team would overpay for Nikita Zadorov? Bruins, Boston people like tough guys. You know, he's a kind of real tough customer. That makes sense for them. Go overpay for him. I don't hate it. I'm not particularly mad about it. That is the sort of thing that I would say more, and I'm just guessing, has more of Neely's fingerprints. And that's not what's on trial here. What's on trial is the whole thing. How do you come in with a roster full of guys? How do you come in with maybe the issue that you have with the goaltender versus the rest of the team? That, to me, I know that I love Felger. I think that he's maybe, possibly, misreading and kind of twisting some of the stuff surrounding Swayman, like even the Marchand clip of saying, like, I'm not going to talk about negotiations through the media, takes that as a shot at Swayman. I take that as more of a shot at Neely, because Neely was the one that was talking about the actual contract and the numbers in the media. So, but that whole rift, whatever there could be, and I do believe that it would make sense if guys are like, man, where was the goalie this whole time? Like it or not, that is very largely on Don Sweeney. Mm-hmm. What did I say about, like, Sweeney does what he does based on the situation he's put himself in? You trade the other goalie, you trade whatever insurance you have, and then you're trying to play hardball with your RFA goalie. who you already dinked over last year by taking to arbitration, that's going to drag out. And you could have gotten to the number that we all thought he would get, which was in the 8s quicker. So that's the Swayman thing. I still put way more on the team than I put on Swayman. I understand that people want to be mad at Swayman, but I think they're just maybe going a little far there.
I asked Skaz this question, so I'll ask you as well. You just brought up the fact that they, did the dance with Swayman, but they had a choice to sign somebody, whether it was give Montgomery an extension, Marchand an extension, or Swayman. The Swayman thing became public, and he talked about it and became a business decision, right? Well, now you got two other guys. One's gone, and you still have Marchand. I just feel like Sweeney really did nothing. All he did was sign the two best free agents available. Like that's what I feel like he did, and I feel like not doing anything is the reason why they're in the spot.
Yeah, and it's things that they're so bad because I think of, and you'd really need to jump through hoops, but I think at some point, I get crap for this because we have some Penguins fans who listen to the show, but I don't think any Penguins fans listen to us in Boston. At some point, the Crosby thing is going to end in Pittsburgh, and Boston would be to play with his line mate, his Team Canada line mate, his friend Brad Marchand. I think always kind of made sense to me. But if the team stinks and he's going from merely the second worst team in the Eastern Conference to right now the 9th best team in the Eastern Conference, I don't know if he'd want to do something like that. So you got to get your act together for stuff like that too. If you actually want to improve and try to go chase another cup, you're going to need to get some reinforcements. Are you a destination right now? I would say no. And on the Marchand thing, if it gets this bad, I asked it to Fluto yesterday when he was on with us, and I was kind of asking it in a, hey, this would never happen, right thing. But I was like, look, if it gets much worse, they wouldn't consider selling. And, Marchand is a UFA. They wouldn't consider something like that. And Fluto was saying, with where the Bruins are right now, if they get much worse, they have to explore that sort of thing. And it shocks me, but if you're thinking about it pragmatically, yeah, if you get that much worse, you do have to take calls on guys. And that's wild to me, given that, again, I always kind of thought of the Bruins as being the team that ends up picking up that Sidney Crosby instead of being a team that maybe teams are calling and saying, you know what? We would love Brad Marchand. And you have to look at it and think, hey, maybe this is our opportunity to make up for the fact that we stink at drafting.
I was following your Utah tour.
The best.
Tell us about the Delta Center, and I know you did some food reviews as well. Tell me about the buttery beer and the pretzel bites.
Oh, my God, brother. So Delta Center, not designed for hockey, but we sat in places that had great vantage points. We also went to, you're a gambler, so I don't know if you had your eye on the Mavericks Jazz game. Oh, we went to that. What's that?
No, I love the Mavericks Jazz. I'd bet all over that game. I would be all over it.
Yeah, it was amazing, and the Jazz won because Luka decided to not play defense on the final possession.
Oh, that sounds
It was the
familiar.
most beautiful thing. It was awesome. It was such a good, fun game. Laurie did nothing the entire game, but the Jazz were still winning. And then when it came to crunch time, Luka started turning it on. So Dallas came back, but the Jazz ended up pulling it out on, I think, a Jordan Clarkson layup because Luka says, you know what, this isn't quite my thing. But awesome arena, awesome time. The coolest part about it was we were there the day that Utah Hockey Club jerseys went on sale because I don't know if you followed this, but because of how late Utah submitted their branding because the move happened so late. The deal went through at the end of last season. Yep. Jerseys weren't going to be ready until January. So Ryan Smith, the owner, and Fanatics had to work together to really bust their tails to get something out. And we were there 8 a.m. Friday morning. Season ticket holders got the first crack at it. And there was a line, Joe, not just down the street, not just down the block. I legitimately think down Salt Lake City. It was the longest line I've ever seen in my life. This mad rush for people to get jerseys. It was the number one retail day in store in the history of the NHL regular season, which makes all the sense in the world. But it was insane. I got a jersey. Mikhail Sergachev, what up? Pete got Dylan Gunther. Sean got Logan Cooley. It was amazing. And yeah, the best concession situation in the NHL. I don't drink anymore, so I was not inconvenienced by the fact that there aren't a ton of beer stands. There were beer stands, though, if that's your kind of thing. But, brother, ice cream, gelato, good hot dogs, J-Dogs. Sean, our producer, our guy, just tortured Buffalo Sabres fan, said it was the best hot dog he's ever had in his life.
Whoa.
Like, supreme, and he's been everywhere, man. Supreme, incredible hot dogs. The ice cream situation, amazing. We did do the dirty soda, which if you're unfamiliar with dirty soda, it's a trend that is huge in Utah right now. If you're unfamiliar with the hot caffeinated drinks thing, the Mormon religion does not do hot drinks with caffeine. So you're not doing hot coffee, you're not doing hot tea, but what a lot of people will do to get their caffeine is soda. So in Utah, they have a chain called Swig, in which they make dirty sodas, which is a soda kind of the way you would take a coffee. So a soda plus a sweetener plus some sort of cream situation. If it sounds gross, it's not.
Root beer, butterscotch, vanilla cream?
That's the one I got. It was called a buttery beer, and it was the best one. We all tasted each other's. The boys agreed I had the best one. Pete got one with Mr. Pibb and something else. Sean got like a Sprite raspberry puree kind of thing. Oh, man, it was so good. All of us got tummy aches, whatever. We're built different, but it was a crazy scene. The pretzel bites there were highly recommended. We got overrated. Don't need them. Just get the dirty soda.
Were you invited to Pucks and Paddles today?
I was not.
Me either.
No, I would. I'd love to go to it.
Yeah.
I think Pasternak's in charge of that now, right?
Yeah, that's what you're not allowed now because he's in charge.
Oh no, I love David Pasternak.
You guys are cool. I saw you with Marchand talking about little captains.
Oh no, that was Little Captain.
Yeah,
oh yes, yeah.
They keep
last
getting
year.
shorter, right? There was Chara and then Bergeron, now him.
It's a thing that happens with Bruins captains. Something's in the water.
Do you think McAvoy is the next captain? Who's the next captain?
Oh, good question. Who is?
Because they could
I
get
didn't even
shorter.
think about that.
They could get shorter.
I mean, let me think. Let's see, Bruins roster. Marchand, I think they listed 5'9", something like that. I don't know how 5'9" he actually is. I mean, Tyler Johnson is 5'8". I don't know if you're making him a captain right now, but that's the only guy on the roster that's shorter than Brad Marchand. So Tyler Johnson, sign another PTO, stick around. You could be the next captain of the Boston Bruins.
They need some sort
Spokane's finest.
They need some sort of leadership. All right, DJ, everything good though? I see you on TV.
Yeah, man, we're having a blast. It's crazy, but we've had a lot of fun. We did Detroit recently. We just go to basketball games when we were on these trips.
Hockey guys going to basketball games. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. We saw Jalen Brunson absolutely eat up the Pistons. It was a tough scene, but Jalen Brunson rocks.
Let's go. Well, he's DJ Bean. He's from the What Chaos Show, and tell Pete we said what's up, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon, sir.
Awesome. Listen daily, folks. We like to get people to the YouTube. So youtube.com/@whatchaosshow. We have episodes every day. We go live at noon. It's supposed to go about an hour, but we dink around. So usually it's 90-ish minutes, and we get the players, the coaches, the GMs. It's a good time. Give us a shot.
You can check out the interview with Bill Armstrong as well. DJ, appreciate taking a few minutes, man. We'll catch up down the line, bud.
Always. Thanks, buddy.
You got it. He's DJ Bean, everybody. What chaos? We got to go to the headlines. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics play in Washington on Friday. They'll go to the White House tomorrow. Bruins back in action tomorrow night. We'll have a new coach, Joe Sacco. The Patriots preparing for the Dolphins this weekend. Headlines, they are brought to you by... Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clog drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at Drains by James. It's up to our friends in YouTube, on the YouTube chat. I see Chuck Olson in there, the brokerage babe. Russ Fox. Got a whole crew in there tonight. 90 people watching at the moment. Let's get that number up, everybody. Let's go. Let's see. What were we going to get into here, Skaz? Because I know we're a little bit late. We're going to do in or out next. So everybody stay tuned for that. We're going to talk to Dr. Football. John Sarianides coming up in just a little bit. What else? Oh, I wanted to let everybody know that the Patriots have never beat Tua Tagovailoa. Never. They've never beat Tua Tagovailoa. What makes you think they're going to do it this week? Is it Drake Maye? Oh, that's what it is, Joe? Intern Joe? It's Drake Maye, huh? What about the Patriots defense versus Tua Tagovailoa? Hey, see the Patriots defense last week? Gave up 28 points, cover 0. See that? Blitzed more than any other team in the league. Got shredded by a Hall of Fame quarterback. Ooh. I've been thinking about this one for the last couple of days. It's been air frying. Ready to take it out. I'm curious if Sean McVay called Bill Belichick before the game and said, hey, what do you know about Mayo and that defense? Anything we should know about or be aware about? And maybe Belichick says, yeah, when they're blitzing, they like to blitz from this side of the field, or they like to blitz from here, or when they do this, do that. I'm sure it happened. I mean, Belichick drafted most of those guys, right? Just wouldn't put it past the coach to call McVay. And I don't know, is it curious that they got shredded on blitzes? Huh? Patriots miss Bill Belichick. They won't tell you that, though. They're worse defensively. You all know it. And again, I'll say it one more time. They have never beaten Tua Tagovailoa. So if the Patriots defense this week beats Tua and the Dolphins, they've done something Bill Belichick never did. We got in or out coming up next. And, of course, I missed this one earlier, so I'll share it. Solid the Sports has been brought to you by Jackson Lumber and Millwork, supplying contractors and homeowners with residential and commercial building materials since 1946. JacksonLumber.com. And, of course, by our friends over at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, with locations now in Weymouth, Canton, Bedford, and in Natick. In or out? Next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it going to be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Long Drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
Boston plays here.
Pritchard, half court. It's in the air.
Go!
He got it. He did it again.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Jelly rolls everywhere, bro, huh? Like, I don't know who these country people are, but he's everywhere. What does Jelly Roll do that, like, at least Post Malone, like, I know he doesn't know what type of music he likes. Jelly Roll, though? What type of music is he?
I would say country.
No, he's not. Jelly
We've
Roll.
done Joey Goes to the Grammys. Are we going to have to do Joey Goes to the CMAs? I got Peyton Manning on stage now.
Who's the other guy? Who's the girl?
No idea, Joe. Absolutely no idea.
She's wearing a cowboy hat, so I can't really tell who she is. It reminds me of Trish Stratus from WWE, but I don't know why she would be there. If anyone could tell me who this woman is. 5-15-75. That was in his Hall of Fame speech, right? Anyways, keep going. I'm sorry.
All right, Joe. Well, it wouldn't be an in or out without some food in or out. So, Joe, we will start with this. Kraft Mac and Cheese has announced a new flavor of mac and cheese. They will be releasing everything bagel flavored mac and cheese. Joe Murray, are you in or out?
Out. Listen. Macaroni. Cheese. Now, can you put things on it? Could you put things with it? Yes. I don't want everything bagel with mac and cheese. Those are two different things. You keep them separate. And I don't know how much more clear I can be on that. Now, if you want to put bacon bits, pulled pork, what's something else you put in mac and cheese? Buffalo chicken?
I feel like people put ketchup on mac and cheese.
No, that's a side.
On that.
I sometimes dip it, though, if I'm, like, having fries with it or something, a little dipster. You know I'm a dipper, right? It's Luke Bryan and Lainey Wilson. Thank you, B. Pudster. Who's Lainey Wilson?
No idea.
Let's look her up. Is that Bruce Springsteen?
Joe, that is not Bruce Springsteen.
Doesn't that guy look like... I guess he doesn't look like Bruce Springsteen at all. Does he look like Bob Dylan's kid? Oh, Shabuzi, Tipsy. Shabuzi. Okay, Lainey Wilson. I'm going to tell you right now. She's a star. She's 32 years old. Awesome. Now, if you could condense that into a candy bar, and I could transport that everywhere. So when I get my popcorn, butter, chocolate fix, I can now get it in a candy bar. What was the other two again?
It was the fizzy fountain soda, a root beer and popping candy flavored chocolate bar, and then salty peanut crunch, salty peanuts, and a caramel crunch.
Salty peanuts crunch. You know what I would like? A pretzel with salt that like has nacho cheese flavored. What do you think of that?
You're a crazy man, Joe.
You don't like pretzels with nacho cheese?
That nacho cheese, I don't know. There's something about it sometimes. The one you get in the arenas.
Okay. You're right about this. Okay, so you ever had Velveeta shells and cheese?
Of course.
That's the cheese I'm talking about. Like that kind of like thick.
I like consistency in my food. The nacho cheese consistency from place to place, not very consistent, Joe. We will end with this one tonight,
One
Joe.
more thing that goes in mac and cheese,
boy.
lobster.
Okay, that's a classic.
Always.
Always.
Bottom feeders.
But, Joe, we will end with this tonight. Delta has announced a new partnership with Shake Shack. And starting in 2025, Delta passengers will be able to get Shake Shack burgers on their flights. Joe Murray, in or out?
Shake Shack burger, crap that they give me salad. In.
The only issue with this is there's a lot of recycled air used on airplanes. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of burgers. It's just worried about, some quick turnaround in the air.
This brought up the segment. I need to know. Here's the question you should phrase it in. Joe, if you were going on an airplane.
You want the guy in front of you eating Shake Shack?
Do you want me eating Shake Shack? That's a different question there. Am I in or out on Shake Shack being on Delta? In. Do I want to eat Shake Shack while, on a Delta flight from Boston to Vegas? No. Out. Or the guy in front of me. Remind me to tell you about a funny thing at Musings tonight that Leroy did. That sounded like an old man laugh. All right, we're going to talk to John Sarianides next. Do we have another in or out, or are we going to save it?
We'll save it, Joe.
Okay. I don't know when our next show is.
After the holiday, I believe.
Lots of people listening tonight, guys, giving us shout-outs. Loving the in or out, they said, with the music. All right, we'll talk to John Sarianides coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Sports Hub.
Quick.
No. It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Joining us right now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline, his name's John Sarianides. He is from New England Football Journal. How are you tonight, John?
Doing well. How are you, Joe?
Hey, what's up with Thanksgiving football in Massachusetts now? Obviously, when I was growing up, we used to play a rival, and it was the last game of the year, and then if you were good enough, you went on to a Super Bowl. Well, what's the deal now in high school sports?
Well, it's pretty much the same. The only difference now is that, unfortunately, and I think it's a pretty silly and stupid system, you play your playoffs at the end of the regular season, and then you play Thanksgiving. You figure out who advances to the Super Bowl. You play Thanksgiving, and then you play your Super Bowls after Thanksgiving. In a world that made sense, you would do what the state of Connecticut does. You would play Thanksgiving and then play your playoffs and your state title games. We had an opportunity to do that last month, but unfortunately it was voted down. So, alas, we have this system. So it's similar to what you said, except the only difference is you play your playoff games between weeks 9, 10, and 11, and then you play Thanksgiving, and then whoever advances this weekend will advance on to the Super Bowl, and those games will be played the first week of December at Gillette Stadium.
So is that why you're coaching this week? Because there might be a Super Bowl in the future?
Well, if, we are playing Marshfield on Friday night. The winner of the King Philip Marshfield game and the winner of the Catholic Memorial Wellesley game will play in the Division II Super Bowl the first week in December at Gillette Stadium. So,
whoa! So you guys could play CM?
Yes. If we win on Friday night, we would play Franklin on Thanksgiving, and then if they win, we would play Catholic Memorial for the Division II Super Bowl. It would be the third time that the two programs would be facing each other in the last 4 years.
Wow. I'm not going to look ahead or anything.
No, please don't. Now, we currently have the longest winning streak in the state at 23 in a row.
No flex.
But we're playing a very good Marshfield team that's well coached. Of course, we beat them in the Super Bowl last year, so there'll be a measure of revenge on their minds, I'm sure. But it should be a really good game.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Well, keep me posted.
Thank you. Thank you.
That would be fun to watch. Speaking of fun to watch, Drake Maye, huh? What are you thinking over 5-6 games with him so far?
I like what I'm seeing. You know, you can debate whether or not they did it right with him in terms of his development, but you're seeing a lot of the skills that led me to believe in the spring that I felt he was the best quarterback in this class. And it's easy to say that in hindsight, but I did. I felt that physically he was the most talented quarterback in this class. I felt that he had the highest ceiling because he was nowhere near his ceiling, whereas I think Daniels, Williams, Penix, not so much McCarthy, Nix, those guys were closer to their ceiling. They were also ready to play sooner. But I've been impressed with what I've seen from the kid. First of all, his pocket presence, his ability to process, get the ball out on time. His athleticism helps him in and out of the pocket because he can reset the pocket and get some of the throws off that we saw on Sunday under duress. And, of course, he can also break, contain, and extend plays and pick up additional yards. There's a lot to like there. The only thing is I'd like to see him take better care of the football. He had the 2 turnovers on Sunday, the fumble, and then the pick late in the game. He's got to protect the ball better. That's your number one job as a quarterback before you execute the play. You've got to take care of the ball. You've got to secure the ball to execute the play. So he's got to get better there. But there's a lot to like so far about his game. He's coming along nicely. Only thing here is he's got to keep going in the right direction. You don't want to see regression at the end of the season. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but so far so good.
How do you teach a kid who's an athlete how to slide? Because he didn't have to do it at North Carolina. So how do coaches teach him now because he's at the next level? I mean, I just don't think he knows how to slide. So what do they have to do to get him to slide?
Well, it's one of those things you got to work with him on. It's when you're teaching a quarterback to slide, it's an anticipatory move. He's got to be able to know, all right, I've gotten about as much as I can get. I got to get down. That does come with practice and experience, though. Some quarterbacks, it takes longer than others because some guys, as you mentioned, he didn't do it in college. They actually ran him on design running plays, so he's used to taking contact and putting his shoulder down and delivering contact. In the NFL, he's got to learn that even if he puts on an extra 5 to 10 pounds this offseason, he has to learn to protect himself in space. He has to learn to slide. He has to anticipate when to slide, and he also has to anticipate when to get out of bounds. I've always said to the quarterbacks I've coached through the years, get what you can get and get out. And I think he has to figure that out. Either get what you can get and get out, or get what you can get and get down. And I think if he figures that out, he can better protect himself. That's another area of his game he needs to work on. You can coach some of that, Joe, but he's going to have to learn some of that on his own as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, do they have to get the slip and slides out and, get the one leg under the other with the toe up, I mean, that's how we used to do it in baseball like that. We used to have to work with the quarterbacks on it. I think it's something he's never, ever been taught.
Yeah, we would actually, I remember years ago, we would bring one of the baseball coaches in, one of the assistants, and we would let the quarterbacks, when we were on defense, we would let them go over to the other field, and they would practice learning how to slide because, again, you want them to protect themselves. And look, the harsh reality is in the NFL, even if you learn how to slide and protect yourself, as we saw when he got his concussion, the game moves so fast, you can still get clipped on the way down and get hurt. So, again, that anticipation piece is a big part of it. He's got to develop a feel for when it's time to give up on a run and get down.
Talking with John Sarianides. He's from New England Football Journal. Check out all their stuff. They got plenty of high school football stuff. I know you guys got college football as well. Some big news this week regarding Don Brown and UMass. But I wanted to just stick to the NFL here. You mentioned concussions. How do we not talk about Tua Tagovailoa? Did you know the Patriots have never defeated Tua Tagovailoa?
I did know that. And quite frankly, I think that is a little embarrassing. Tua Tagovailoa could say that he went undefeated against Bill Belichick. That is something he can take with him for the rest of his life.
So what is it? Is it the dual threat? Is it his weapons? I mean, because there's been games where they covered everybody and then he kind of ran for the first down. I mean, there's been so many situations. Just I don't see how the Patriots can beat the Dolphins this week.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that he's had success against them because, especially under Mike McDaniel, because he's been in a system that gets the ball out quick. McDaniel does a really good job of using formations and motion to create space for his receivers, and he puts Tagovailoa in a position where he can make 1-2 reads. Maybe he goes to a third read, but the ball's usually out by the second read. So I think one of the things Tua does well is he beats pressure, and I think he's had success against the Patriots because the Patriots haven't had that preeminent pass rusher where they can get instant on the line of scrimmage pressure on him. They've had to generate pressure to get to him, and he's been able to beat it because McDaniel's done a really good job of putting him in situations where the defense is out leveraged and he can get the ball out. So I think that's been part of it. I think the other part of it is he does, especially in the last 2 years, he's had a really good supporting cast that the Patriots have had a hard time matching up with. And I think that's been advantageous as well. But yeah, I think the other thing you have to look with him is even though he's a lefty, he's got a flat, quick release. So he can get the ball out. So not only can he beat pressure, but he can also put the ball in tight spots. And I think that's helped him as well against a Patriots team that has had a tendency, at least the last couple of years, to double Tyreek Hill and try to erase him. They've tried to double Jalen Waddle in certain situations. He's been able to go to his other receivers because he has that quick release and he can fit the ball into tight spots. So I just think ultimately he's got the right pieces around him. He's got the right coach. And it hasn't been a good matchup for the Patriots defense. You hope that changes this year. Miami has won 2 in a row here, but they're not who we thought they were going to be. But I still think with a healthy Tua now, they still present a lot of the same challenges that they have over the course of the last 2 years.
All right, John. I was going to say the last week when the Patriots played the Rams and they went to that zero defense and Matt Stafford put up the zeros, I thought that was pretty embarrassing. But I also thought that maybe McVay called Belichick in advance Maybe got some tips on him. What do you think on that?
You know what? I don't think he called Belichick. I think what happened on Sunday was, and a lot has been made of this in the local media since Sunday. Why weren't they matching up Christian Gonzalez on Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua? I think it's important to realize that when you're playing a team that moves and motions as much as these Shanahan offenses do, particularly the Rams and the 49ers, you have to play more static on defense. It's not as easy to travel your corners and move them around and match them up because the motion makes you have to bump adjust. You can't just keep running guys laterally left and right trying to follow a receiver to the other side. So I think that's a big part of why they had success. They put the Patriots in a bind. Patriots talked about this last week when their coaches met with the media about how that motion stresses defenses and forces them to have to play straight up. I think that's what happened on Sunday. They make you have to be static, and you have to end up matching guys up against Kupp and Nacua that you may not necessarily want to match up. So they also played a fair amount of man, but I think at the end of the day, I think that McVay outsmarted them in many ways. He used his shifting and motion game to his advantage, and it paid dividends for him.
All right, John. Well, what do you think about this college football bracket? How do you feel about it? It's shaking out to be something pretty interesting.
It is. It is. Obviously, we got a couple of weeks left here in the regular season, but I'm curious to see how these matchups play out. I'm also curious to see how many SEC teams we get in, how many Big Ten teams we get in. I think it's going to be fantastic. I've said this all along. I think they waited too long to do this. And I know that I'm one of the few people that is saying this, Joe. I'd love to see them go to 16 teams. I think there's 4 more teams you can put in the mix here that could spice this up. So, but for now, we got the 12-team playoff. I love it. I think it's playing out like we thought it would. The one thing I do like is it's made a lot of these games at the end of the season even more important than what we've seen the last few years with the 14 playoff, because now more of these 2-loss teams have a shot to get in. So I think it's added even more importance to some of these late season matchups, some of these rivalry games that we're going to get now the next couple of weekends. So I think it's fantastic. I think it's playing out like we thought it would, but there's still an opportunity there for some teams to win out here and possibly find themselves getting an at-large bid.
Dude, Boise versus Ohio State or Indiana versus Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, Penn State. Ooh.
The matchups are tremendous. They're tremendous. And it's great to see a program like Boise State have an opportunity now to play for a national title. That's why I said to you I would love to see them expand it by 4 more teams, because now that gives some more of these group of 5 schools an opportunity to compete for national title. You're not just playing for a conference title and a top 20 ranking. So I think it's fantastic. Like I said, I'm excited for the matchups. I think it's going to be an unbelievable 3-week stretch of football starting December 20th.
If I added 4 more teams, it's probably Tennessee, Texas A&M maybe, probably SMU, right?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Wow, and then it'd either be like a Clemson, Arizona, Army.
Army could play for a national title now. Army's playing Notre Dame this weekend at Yankee Stadium. If they somehow win that, which that would be an upset, they deserve to have a shot to play for national.
I love that.
Yeah,
go Army.
That's what I'm saying. I think you need 4 more teams because you need to give more of the group of 5 schools an opportunity to have a shot to get into this thing. Because it's still, even though 12 teams now gives more of the group of the Power 4 schools an opportunity to play for a national title, it's still a little bit of a blue blood invitational. But now if you have at least those 4, now it's a more open, gives other schools an opportunity to get in. Now, you can make the argument, and it's a very good argument, that even if Army got in, are they really going to win a national title? Probably not, but they still deserve to have the opportunity to compete for one.
The hell of a defense there and a great quarterback,
It is. So. Yes, and that offense, you wouldn't want to have to face that offense in the playoff. You wouldn't want to have to deal with that offense.
Preparing for them? It'd be
Preparing
terrible.
for that offense in 1 week, Joe, is virtually impossible.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thanksgiving's next week. I know. Do the Greeks do it? How do the Greeks do it?
The Greeks do a traditional Thanksgiving. We don't mess around. We might tweak it a little bit and do Greek roast potatoes. We might have the Greek cheese plate. We might have the Greek bread. We put our own spin on it. But generally speaking, it's more of a traditional Thanksgiving meal with a Greek touch. Now, Christmas, we go full Greek. But Thanksgiving, we keep it traditional with some Greek tweaks.
And what about the desserts? The baklava?
You're still right. So the desserts, it's interesting because, again, we stick to the tradition. It's pies. We might incorporate a baklava. We might incorporate a galaktobouriko, the custard pie. We might mix that in. Maybe the kurambiedes, which are the powdered butter cookies. But by and large, we stick with the pies. Again, Christmas, Easter, that's when we go all out with the Greek food.
What was the name of that custard pie again?
Galaktobouriko.
And the cookies?
And their cookies are called kurambiedes.
Okay. What do you call
I've told people about the custard pie, Joe. And, Greek words are hard. But I've told people about it, and I remember telling a friend of mine about it. And he asked me, how do you make galaktobouriko? And I'm like, look, man, I'm not talking about booty calls here. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Pulling an Adam Schefter.
All of a sudden, this is Greek porn. I'm like, dude, you got to relax here. It's galaktobouriko, not galaktobouriko.
I'm looking it up. Skaz has sent it to me. I've had this. I know exactly what this is. It's got like that little custard in it with the beautiful, what is that, like a bread?
With the honey and the phyllo on the top.
The honey phyllo on the top.
It is fantastic, man. And it has a little hint of orange in there, too. It is. I'm telling you, man. And if you have it cold, like the next day, it's one of the best desserts you can ever have. Have it the next day, straight out of the fridge. Chef's kiss.
I feel like I'd get the flakes all over my shirt.
You would. You'd get the flakes all over your shirt, and your hands would be sticky. But that's okay, because that means you enjoyed it. So it's all good.
It ain't good if you ain't wearing it.
Right, exactly. Right. If you're not wearing it, then it wasn't that good to begin with. So you might as well wear it and enjoy it.
All right, John. We'll catch up after the holiday, my man. Enjoy it, and good luck with the game. Listen. If you guys play CM in the Super Bowl, I'm going. All right.
Awesome. I love it. You and Zoe can hang together and break it down. And feel free to critique our performance.
We're gonna eat galaktobouriko.
Galaktobouriko, not galaktobouriko.
Galaktobouriko.
Right. That's Greek porn. Little different.
Thank you, John. Good luck, man.
All right. Later, brother. Good talking to you guys. Have a good night.
All right. That was interesting. Galaktobouriko. It looks amazing. I've had that a lot. All right. Well, we'll late again. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Hey, Chris Sale won the Cy Young Award. All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Bomb, Joe Murray. Well, some people have been waiting on hold for a bit, so we got the musings coming up next. You don't want to miss that. Let's start with Deshaun is in Virginia. What's going on, Deshaun? You're on the show. Hey, Deshaun. Hi, Deshaun. Is he sleeping? Yeah, he's sleeping. Hear him. He was sleeping. Colt is in the car. Hey, Colt.
What's up, Joe? Hope you're having a good night, man. I got a couple things for you real quick. I don't know why I haven't heard more like 80 to 90-year-old dudes calling in comparing Drake Maye to like Jim Plunkett. So that's one thing I'm really missing some of that on these airwaves. I'm really hoping for some more of that in the near future.
You know the age demographic for this show is 18 to 34, right?
Oh, this show, yeah, but I'm talking about the full scale of everything.
You should have seen the weekly this past week. It was really good. It was 13.7.
I got something else for you here, though.
Okay.
Food recommendation here. I just checked out a new place. I've never been there, but apparently they just redid some of the menu. If you ask for the new wings at the White Bull Tavern, I think it is, right next to Union Oyster House. Oh my God, Joe! These things are crazy. I'm a wing guy, and these things blew me away. Holy smokes!
It's in Faneuil Hall, White Bull Tavern.
Yeah. Right by Faneuil Hall. Yep.
What makes the wings so special, though?
Joe, I've been into it. It's like a plain wing, right? But you can get whatever sauce you want, but you bite into the thing, and it's seasoned beautifully, right? But it falls off the bone. The backside of the wing, if you just bite the front of the drum, the backside comes off too at the same time. It's crazy. I don't even know what else to say.
Can you dip?
Oh, for sure.
So you dipped and
it's got the integrity to dip, but it's got the flakiness that it just falls apart in your mouth.
What kind of flavor did you get?
All the savory notes you're looking for, but then a little bit of that sweetness that hits too. It's I don't even know, man. It just hits.
No, well, I'm never over there that often, but it sounds like I'd like those wings.
Next time you go to a Celtics or Bruins game, I'm telling you, stop by.
The White Bull Tavern.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
All right. Why did you bring up Jim Plunkett to me?
It's just, the Jim Plunkett like to throw some picks,
How old are you, though?
Does that matter? I mean, how old do I don't know.
Well, I'm 42. Do you think I'm talking about Jim Plunkett?
No, you see the highlight tapes. The guy looks like a gritty dude, I think Drake's got some of that in him.
How about Justin Herbert?
The thing is, Herbert's got that more solid, that he's got a real sturdy, like Josh Allen kind of build to him, where Maye's a little skinnier, a little smaller. The pads look a little bigger on him. I think that when you watch the highlight tapes of Plunkett, he's got that same vibe.
Herbert was a runner in college as well.
For sure. But like I said, he's got that bigger build.
But you're going to Jim Plunkett.
Hey, watch the tapes, man. I think there's some comparisons to be made there. I'm not the one to make them, but someone should.
Super Bowl champion.
Someone far older than me should be making those comparisons. But, all right, Joe. You have a good night, man. I'll let you go.
All right. I'll go check out those wings then.
Hey, I think you like them.
Thank you. That girl won. Yeah, as an award. The girl with the what we thought was Carrie Underwood, but she's not. Her name is Megan Maroney. She won New Artist of the Year.
Never heard of her.
She's easy to look at. She has a great dress on.
I find myself very distracted, Joe, because a lot of nights we go into musings and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Every once in a while, you'll fill me in shortly before if we need audio or something like that. And I have stumbled across the audio for tonight's musing, and it's a doozy, Joe. I'll say that. It is.
It's a doozy?
Yes, Joe.
It's a doozy?
It's a doozy. It's very fitting, I think. Some people may be upset, say there's too much of this talk on the station, but I, for one, I'm a big fan of it, and certainly not something I was expecting tonight.
Okay. Topher's online. Topher, we only have a minute or so. Hi, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Dude, it's amazing. You guys are, actually live on a show. I thought it was going to like be wielding a cane by the time you guys got back on.
Yep. Hey, how are those Dom's Thanksgiving sausages?
Let me give a shout out to Dom because those things are magical. I had some Thanksgiving dinner early. My mom can't wait to try them.
It's great, man. So we have musings coming up next. Are you in your car?
I am indeed. I'm taking a little trip from Salem back to home. So I'm going to be on the road for the next 15 minutes. So I'm going to be listening as always.
Okay, we're going to tell you about a famous museum.
Uh-oh. Wait, which one?
Well, you're going to have to find out.
I'm already listening.
All right, well, if I don't talk to you, happy, what is it? Thanksgiving.
How can you forget a holiday about food?
What do you eat on Thanksgiving?
What do I eat on Thanksgiving? Mom usually starts with the raviolis, the nice fresh meatballs. She's got the brajol every once in a while. And then after that, we go into mostly it's turkey with the good sides and everything. Every once in a while, she'll do a ham instead of the turkey, but we mix it up. We keep it good. What about you? What's your favorite, absolute favorite food in Thanksgiving?
Stuffing. Topher, thank you, sir. We got to go. You know why? Because we got to tell you about this museum. It's a doozy. I'll tell you next here on the Sports Zone.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5.
Well, disappointed in moving on from Jim Montgomery, but he's next. And Joe Sacco will take over as they take on Utah. That game will be tomorrow night. Patriots and Dolphins play in Miami on Sunday. No Dietrich Wise, Vidarian Lowe, and Christian Baumar at practice today. Cole Strange, though, back on the field. The clock starts. 21-day clock starts. And then the Celtics are into Washington. They're going to go to the White House tomorrow. Then they're going to play a game there on Friday. And Chris Sale has won the Cy Young Award in the National League. Headlines are brought to you by Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining, Drains by James. Slow drain, clogged drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Some people play the game.
Hey, Jaylen Brown. Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper. Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub.
On stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
Since the 12th grade, it's ironic. I had the boo, she had the chronic. The Lakers traffic incident I had last week is the worst traffic of the year. When's the last time? Have you watched Plane, Trains, and Automobiles? Characters be. Who's a funny fat guy now? Are there still funny fat guys? Like John Candy, Chris Farley. Oh, what about our buddy Bert there? Kreischer, is he a funny fat guy?
He's not an actor.
Whatever.
I'm out on that guy.
Oh, you don't like him, huh?
He's got one joke, Joe. He just beats that joke into the ground.
Give me a funny fat guy, Joe Medeiros.
I'd say I think he's one of the best actors going right now. But Paul Walter Hauser is he can be very funny. He was in the Jamie Taco "I Think You Should Leave" sketch, but he was also in Blackbird. He's been in. He's not. I mean, he's a comedian.
What about Paul Blart there?
Out. Kevin James. Not a nice guy, from what I've heard from other hosts on the show or on the station, I should say.
That. Funny fat guys. I'm just going to Google funny fat guys. And it just shows me other fat guys. No, I want like funny fat guy like comedians.
I think Jonah Hill was that guy for a little bit. And I don't think he really is anymore. Zach Galifianakis probably falls into that mold.
There. Well, is John Goodman?
I think he's on the Big O, Joe. I think he's on Ozempic now. I don't believe he's a larger gentleman.
They say, where are all the fat guys? Where have all the fat guys gone? Where are they all gone?
Get Wayne Knight back. Get him back in the mix.
Where have all the fat guys gone in comedy? Oh, you know what else I wanted to bring up? Has there ever been a time when you realized you had an addiction? No, for real. I'm being serious. Come on, we can all relate here. Mine's food related. But have you ever
Yeah.
You ever get like addicted to like candy or like Okay, so my latest is whoopie pies. I'm being serious. So I know I'm funny, but like I'm being serious. So I am trying like not to eat horribly. Like I mean, we work some long nights. The other night when the candy bowl was out there and the nerds, it was the Bruins game was so bad I like had to eat my feelings. But a couple of weeks ago, I went to Pizzy Farms. It's in Waltham. Go check them out. And he goes, try these. And they were these whoopie pies. And it was like, they were incredible. I mean, I haven't had a whoopie pie in a long time. So I ate them. And then I go to Market Basket now, guys. And did you know that they have a whoopie pie cabinet?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, so that whoopie pie is just chocolate with vanilla inside it.
I'm familiar with the whoopie pie.
Okay. Then they have the chocolate with the peanut butter in it. And then they have a with the chocolate and the peanut butter in it. And then they have the double fudge. And then now there's raspberry. And now there's other. So yesterday I got the vanilla one with the M&Ms in it. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this thing and I go, how many people do this? Why am I addicted to whoopie pies right now? So I'm trying not. Half moons are another problem. I got a haircut in Medford the other day. Next door's Modern Pastry. What happens? Half moon, baby. I need to stop. How do I stop? What is my alternative? Because that's usually how I stop something, Skaz. I either go full cold turkey or I get on to something else. I liked Gushers for a period of time. Now I like whoopie pies. I'm still drinking Celsius. Can't help that. Oh, someone's garlic and pepperoni? I eat pepperonis during the day. I eat the cabbage cheese sliced. I get them for $3.99. But if I buy the block, I can get them for $2.99. But I don't want to cut the cheese. I want them already pre-sliced by Cap.
But I don't think any of them are going to do you much good.
You know what else, too, is? They're like $2.69 for one, right? But you can buy 6 of them in a little case for $5.19. It's terrible.
I have not seen Pop-Tarts.
That could be an alternative. Instead of eating a whoopie pie, I could have a Pop-Tart.
I don't know if there's a huge difference there, but
no, I'm really being serious. I'm addicted to whoopie pies right now. Like you should see the beautiful cabinet that's at Market Basket, and then Busy Farms has a huge cabinet. I didn't know they made so many different kinds of whoopie pies. I might make brownies and then make my own whoopie. I did it all for the whoopie. The whoopie. You're right. Maybe I should make my own because then I won't eat them anymore. Because you ever make something yourself and you're like, it's just not as good.
Not as good.
Never. Pasta. I'll make pasta, and I'm like, this is what I thought. Anyways, all right. Well, that was me confessing my addiction. Now that I've confessed, maybe it will bless me, and I'll be better about it. So we've been teasing a museum. There were people guessing in the chat.
Yes, Joe. Now we get to the important business of the night.
What were people guessing the museum was?
Some phallic guesses, Joe. Whale Museum was a popular one.
Ooh, a whale museum?
The whale talk on the night show.
Danny DeVito, funny fat guy?
Yeah, he's a little older. He's just a funny little guy. I think he falls more in the little category.
Yeah, because you're either little or fat. If you're little and fat, you're little.
I think he is too short.
Like if I'm
to be
big and fat, am I fat or am I big? I think I'm big.
One. You got to pick one.
I'm big.
You're a big guy.
I'm big. I'm fat, but
Danny
I'm big.
DeVito, little guy.
Yeah, exactly. But like you've always said, you can't. If you're going to be little, you can't be mean.
No, yeah, the angry short guy thing. If you're going to be that short, you can't be angry. It's just you're already in a hole yourself. You can't be doing that. No Napoleon syndrome allowed.
I did it all for the whoopee. All right, so Whale Museum was one of them. New museum that tells stories through fossiled poop. It is called the Pooseum. Skaz, I guess there's some sound on this. Let's hear more about the Pooseum.
This is the Pooseum. It's the world's largest collection of fossilized poop. Everything from the largest coprolite from a tyrannosaur all the way down to a little termite in a piece of...
How big is a Tyrannosaurus poop?
This is the Pooseum.
Welcome to the Pooseum. I can't even say it. Welcome to the Pooseum.
This is the Pooseum.
So, long story short, it is a museum of poo. All the way from Tyrannosaurus Rexes to, what was the other little guy?
Termites.
Termites have poop too, huh? What does termite poop look like? Because mouse poop looks like little black, like pencils, right?
Like pellets almost.
Yes.
Right?
They're yeah. If you got a mouse poop problem, you got a pellet problem. All right, let's hear more about the Pooseum.
This is the Pooseum. It's the world's largest collection of fossilized poop. Everything from the largest coprolite from a tyrannosaur all the way down to a little termite in a piece of petrified or fossilized wood. So when I was 18, I found my first coprolite in a rock and fossil shop in Moab, Utah. But when I saw it and I asked the guy about it, and he said, well, that's a fossilized poop. I was fascinated. It was funny. It was gross. but I learned very quickly it could tell us so much about our prehistoric past. Coprolites are like little time capsules of the past. So what we can learn from them is prehistoric animal diet, physiology, environment, and animal interactions. This coprolite is the largest coprolite from a carnivore ever discovered.
Okay, time out. We can't see it.
No, Joe, but if you go to the Pooseum, you can see the largest fossilized poop known to man.
And they can learn about its history, what its diet was, who it interacted with.
Who is this for? Who is going on a trip to the Pooseum? Who's their target audience? The same people that were going to that diaper daycare up in New Hampshire?
Where is it?
The Pooseum, Joe? Yeah. You looking for tickets?
Yeah.
This is in Arizona, Joe. Northern Arizona.
Is there any... I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park. What else about the Pooseum do we need to know?
It's most likely from a T-Rex due to its size, location where it was found. You can see bits of bone throughout it. They're little dark pieces.
So a T-Rex, Joe, has the largest recorded fossilized poop in human history.
So I should just assume the one from Jurassic Park is the biggest one ever.
Does that pique your interest, Joe? If you, let's say you were in Arizona, you're in Scottsdale. It's a 30-minute drive to the Pooseum. Are you going to go out of your way to see the world's largest Tyrannosaurus Rex poop?
Well, I will tell you this. I don't know if it. Well, how an RV bathroom's probably pretty nice, right?
I think there's lots of groups, bands, comedians. You're not allowed to do number 2 on the tour bus. I think that's like a unwritten rule of these guys traveling across the country. You got to hold that in.
What?
Oh yeah, I've heard many.
But they lived in like RVs, and they'd be like these like RV conventions, and they'd all go to it or whatever. What's that called?
This isn't like.
Have you ever seen Fargo?
The movie or the show?
The movie.
I've seen the movie.
Movie's great. I actually watched it the other night. That's kind of a thing for Thanksgiving. Nomadland. There we go. Thank you. You got to watch, guys. You have to watch Nomadland. It was very good. Excellent movie. But you watch them poop on the RV. They poop on an RV. But would Thanksgiving dumps make it to the...
I don't know. Some of these Delta flights I might be worried about in the new year.
What do you think's the biggest animal right now?
Well, like the big, like a blue whale?
Like living not in the ocean.
Like an elephant.
Okay. Do you think there's elephant poop at the Pooseum?
I mean, it's not a proper Pooseum if there is an elephant poop there, Joe. I mean, you gotta have everything. They're doing a shoddy job if not. I'm very curious to see what they're charging. What's the admission fee to the Pooseum?
I wonder if you get a AAA discount.
It is free, Joe. It is a completely free experience.
Of course it is. Who would pay to go to a Pooseum?
And Joe, they got gifts. They got a gift shop with.
What's the gifts?
Fossils and decor, Joe. You can have cherished memories of your Pooseum adventure, it says on the website.
A new museum in northern Arizona tells stories of prehistoric animals through their fossilized poop. He's been collecting poop for nearly 3 decades. He's got 7,000 specimens worth. People are interested in seeing coprolites. People are really excited, he said. They come in and they're excited to see old poo. They're excited to see dinosaurs. It's really something that strikes a chord with a lot of young people and families that are visiting in the area.
Joe, would you like to hear about some of the poops they have on display there?
Please.
Marvel, a huge Barnum, the largest ever discovered, a 4-foot wide Titanosaurus poop replica. Explore coprolite wonders through vibrant carnival banners and be awestruck by the stinker. A bronze masterpiece capturing the whimsy of a thoughtful T-Rex perched on a toilet. So they're having fun, Joe.
4 foot wide poop? How does that get out of there?
I don't have the answers, Joe. I just read what they provided.
4 foot poo. Fossilized marijuana. Why am I so childish? All right, well, birthdays today. Joe Walsh, 77 years old today. Bo Derek from Tommy Boy. Remember her? 68 years old. Ming Na Wen is 61 years old. Joel McHale, remember him in The Bear? He was a jerk boss. 53 years old today. Dierks Bentley, country, 48 years old today. And Jana Lee Ortiz, 38 years old today. Estelle Parsons from Roseanne, if you remember her.
Local. From Lynn.
Comedian Dick Smothers, 86 years old today. Norman Greenbaum, 82. Is it still President Joe Biden? 82 years old. I wonder do you think the Celtics are partying with Joe tonight?
Didn't even think of that.
Is Joe awake right now?
A little birthday cake.
Future, 41 years old today. Jeremy Jordan, 40 years old today. Jackson Bieber is 15. Is that his little brother?
No idea.
Okay. Robert F. Kennedy's birthday was today. Too political. What else
It
we
is
got?
J.D. Drew's birthday today.
Oh, what's the fascination if it is true? What's the fascination with J.D. Drew? Did you ever hear about that one?
I did not.
Bob Ryan years ago just did not understand the fascination with J.D. Drew. Which I can understand. The Pooseum was craptastic. All right, let's go to break. He's Gaz. I'm Joe on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I don't even know if I should read it because I don't believe. But Post Malone's back out on stage again. See, this is what they do, Skaz. We don't know who anybody is, so they just keep bringing. Like I've seen Jelly Roll. I've seen the girl that looks like Carrie Underwood, Megan Maroney. I've seen her a couple of times. I saw the Here in a Fast Car guy. And, well, that's all I know. Still reacting to the You know what's funny, guys, is you had more questions after the segment about the Puseum than during the segment. Jelly Roll, huh? Good for him. Are you guys watching MAC football in there, or are you guys watching the CMAs?
There's a lot of action going on in here, Joe.
like I just was so lazy I didn't change the channel all night. So I'm interested in this country because I know nothing about country music except for Shabuzi because we did the songs this year. And then the other guy, put some miles on it, back of the Chevy, with the engine running, truck bed wide like a California king. That's all I know. Is Dolly Parton here?
I hope Dolly's too good for that.
Dolly's way too good for that. Dolly should be doing halftime. What are we waiting for that one? She's great. Actually, I love Dolly Parton. Like, I love that woman. These people don't look like country people, do they? Oh, yeah, that's Michelle McPhee there. She was on American Idol. That's how that's how I recognize people now? I got to shut this off. All right, Sam Kennedy spoke. He said the Red Sox fans have wanted to hear it. The ownership is willing to spend past the luxury tax to compete for a championship in 2025. Quote, even if it takes us over the CBT, our priority is 90 to 95 wins. Shut up. Oh, I hate this guy already. Should I keep reading or no?
Yes, Joe. I think
90 to 95 wins? Don't say that. I don't want to hear how many wins. Win a championship. Ballman from the major leagues on down. Michael Silverman had this one from the Globe. Why do they have to be shrewd? Why can't you just lay your balls out there and say we're the Red Sox and we're going to sign Juan Soto and we're going to trade for this guy? Oh, there's nobody I dislike more than him.
Can I give you a tidbit that stood out to me in this article?
Please.
The interview with Sam Kennedy was interrupted by a phone call.
Oh.
From one David Ortiz.
Was it his birthday?
Kennedy did not divulge what the two spoke about, but he appeared quite pleased by the end of the conversation. Now, Joe, we don't like to speculate. That's not what we do. Can't imagine anyone would just wildly speculate, but if someone was going to be talking closely with Juan Soto, David Ortiz might be that guy.
Do you think people would eat poo from the Pooseum if Juan Soto signed with the Red Sox?
That's a crunchy bite there, Joe. Some fossilized poop. I don't know about that.
No, but like, you know how like people in college football have made like, hey, I'll stick a burrito up my butt if like, Florida State loses.
Yeah, the Florida State guy, yeah.
Yeah, and then the guy actually ate the poop.
Well, it took him a while. His team had to lose 6 games in a row, I think. But yeah.
But he ate the poop.
Too late. Too little, too late.
I think the Red Sox want to do things. But when they talk about it, that's when I start to say no. Because people don't talk about doing things. People go and do things. But I think I have a Sam Kennedy problem.
I think a lot of Red Sox fans rightfully have a Sam Kennedy problem, but I also think that the Sam Kennedy problem is that he's the face of it. He is the guy that talks. It's almost the Sweeney Neely thing where, John Henry's not going to come out and do these. We know. I can't even tell you the last time we saw John Henry. I don't even know when his last public, press conference was. So I get it, Sam. But for me, the timing I think is interesting. Joe's fascinated by food in the control room.
I was just wondering what he had in the bag.
Potato chips, maybe?
I'm listening.
Potato chips.
What kind?
What kind? Salt and vinegar.
Ooh, from Wise or...
From where?
What type?
Lay's.
Lay's has a great salt and vinegar chip. You ever had the Cape Cod potato chip salt and vinegar?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, what, you Sam Kennedy?
Yeah, I think the Sam Kennedy thing is that he's the face of it. Everything that goes bad, easy to blame. I get it. I think the timing is interesting that they're being this vocal this early. It felt like we got and maybe I'm wrong, I'd have to look it up, but the Sox have said since the start of the offseason they're going to spend. Now they're mentioning going over the luxury tax, over the CBT. Joe, I'm an idiot. I'm naive. I want to believe in the Red Sox. I want to believe in Sam Kennedy. Do I think they're going to sign Juan Soto? No. But there is absolutely no reason for this team not to be at the top of the American League East next year. They don't have to sign Juan Soto to do that. So for me, their approach should be Juan Soto first. When Juan Soto inevitably goes to the Mets, you try and sign everybody else. And anything short of that, anything short of them spending real money this offseason and not picking up guys with 5.5 ERAs off other teams' waiver wires, I think they should get, absolutely killed if that's what they do again. They have to spend real money and field a real baseball team next year.
What's more likely to happen? They sign Soto or there's an all-star game at Fenway Park?
I'm going to say sign Soto. I think the Red Sox will get an all-star game. 2029 is the rumor, I believe. I think Jared Carrabba's had it at 5 to 10% for Juan Soto. I think the Red Sox will probably come in second. That's what Soto will tell us. It'll be the Mets, and he'll say, I was really thinking about the Sox, and that's the story of the Red Sox the last couple of years. But I'm holding out hope, Joe, that this isn't just all talk and the Red Sox are actually going to be the Red Sox this offseason.
In a way, dude, I hope they just sign pitchers and, let their young kids play. I think if they got quality pitching, including the bullpen, I think Teal can come along. I think Roman Anthony's going to be a player. Where's Rafaela going to play? What's the future of Duran? Because I'm either in on trading Duran for a big name. He's the guy I would trade. I'd keep everybody else.
It seems like the name that keeps coming up is Abreu, Willie Abreu.
Yeah, so what? See you later, big boy. Bye.
Yeah, I'd trade him or Duran for pitching. I'd do it in a heartbeat. They have plenty of outfielders.
All right, well, I don't really want to talk Red Sox, but Sam Kennedy spoke, and I don't believe him. Oh, you know what we should do? You know how we have the Boston Sports Championship big board? We should have a CBT. Stands for what again? Whatever. Competitive balance tax. The competitive balance tax. We should keep the number and then who could it be? John Henry as the climber? Or Wally. Wally will be the climber. Kind of like in the on Price is Right, the ha-dee-dee-oh, ha-dee-doo-dee-da-da-doo-dee. We got one of those in there somewhere too, I think. I remember we used to use one back in the day. Do you remember that, Skaz? It was in the studio. I
haven't seen that thing in a while.
Where is that thing? I'm looking around right now. I don't see it. The competitive balance tax. $241 million. You think you can make a graph for that, Joe? The CBT? He can. He can do anything he wants.
Joe, I think, is your fear from Sam Kennedy's comments that we could be having a repeat of Gerard Mayo saying, let's burn some cash?
Yes. Say nothing. Silent assassins is what I like. Hey, the A-Rod thing, when that happened, no one knew about that.
Chris Sale, I don't remember a ton of buzz around that one.
No, but there wasn't a lot of buzz, but they knew that if you had to do it, you had to give up your top prospect. And they did.
Yoan Moncada.
I'll take the World Series. I'll take the World Series in 2018.
Yeah, Michael Kopech and Yoan Moncada. I mean, Yoan Moncada hasn't really been great at all. Kopech, fine reliever now,
fine.
but 100% worth it.
Take the championship. And guess what? Sale got his money and got a Cy Young Award and a ring. And now we're paying for it all. All right, we'll wrap up this show here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. So this is our final full show of the month of November. So we will not be back, I believe, until... We'll be here every night, but we're working games, though. So next week, I'm off. Out. It's Thanksgiving week. And I have to take my vacation time or I lose it. So I got to take it. Sorry. So I guess we should have done a Thanksgiving show, but the Halloween show is good. We don't need a Thanksgiving show. Maybe we'll do a Christmas show, but we won't be here for the week of Christmas.
Week before.
Could always do a week before.
A Festivus show. An airing of grievances.
Murray Chris Skaz?
I've heard worse.
And then Joey, our intern, we're going to have a pizza party on the 4th. Frank Pepe's is coming by again. So that should be good. I mean, who doesn't want Frank Pepe's? And then Joey's last show is going to be the 9th, I believe. All right. That'll be a full show. So the 4th and the 9th. I just wanted to go over the rundown, the stuff that we didn't get to tonight. We should have like a segment of this is what we didn't get into tonight.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Sponsored? You know? Oh, it does. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Forgot about that show. Oh, yeah. NFL Hall of Fame list. Belichick's absence noticeable. The Joel Embiid story is what I have as a note. Aaron Rodgers benching. Football is easy. People are complicated. Is this the end of an era for the Boston Bruins? And Jason Tatum MVP statement last night. Those are pretty much the things that we talked about all day today. Belichick's absence, very noticeable in the loss to the Rams this week. Everything was suspect. The adjustments, you name it. You name it. What do we got going on tomorrow night? So tomorrow night we get the Bruins versus Utah. So we get the new Utah jerseys, I think. Is that what DJ said? The new jerseys are in? So, and then we get to see Joe Sacco.
Not Sakic.
Can you believe that tonight?
They had to be trolling.
Joe Sakic was awesome.
Great.
Joe Sacco. Not. I hope he drops a couple of Boston accents. Like we tried really hard tonight. And we were just snake bitten.
I do remember, and credit to Kevin for this, but when he's filled in for Montgomery, I do remember Felger and Maz harping on his breathing quite a bit. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a big topic of discussion when he was in for Montgomery during the COVID season, or whoever it was. But there's a lot of heavy breathing talk on the afternoon show about Joe Sacco.
Kind of reminds me of that guy, remember, who was, crap.
Michel Therrien.
That was Michel Therrien, that's right. Oh, crap. So you're out on mouth breathers, huh? You know who was a wicked mouth breather? Remember John Lackey, the baseball pitcher? Am I a mouth breather? I sigh a lot, though. Joe Mazzulla sleeps with his mouth taped, right? He's not a mouth breather. Does he really? That's another thing. When are we getting Joe Mazzulla in studio? We talked about this last night. Can someone help us with this? Anyways, guys, stop sending me Bo Derek memes, please. I know she was in the movie 10 in 1979. I know. But I refer to her as the hot girl, the hot mom, or whatever she was for Tommy Boy. That's how I know her, okay? And that's how I want to know her. Anyways, that's it, Skaz. Let's go home.